All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. All sports, all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to the days. We're high in the court, the dime in the lane. Variety topics, living the same. All presentation, sports information. In the airways, taking the nation. All sport, all plays, like working your faces. Grace at the field, so tie the laces. All sports, all plays.
What is up, everybody? This is Varsity Sports on the ASAP Network. I cannot believe I'm back on the ASAP Network for the second week in a row. I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to bring the show on. We were Sweep the League, the podcast. We switched it up to Varsity Sports because it was too confusing for everyone at home who follows all of our platforms that me and Will started. Now we brought it over to ASAP and we brought up Varsity Sports. And we're happy to bring in Jonathan Mathis, the sports judge. We're happy to have him on Tuesday night. I'm glad his wife's able to let him do this some Tuesday nights. There's a reason I brought him on, but I'm not going to tell him why. I'm just going to let him figure out for himself. But man, I know everyone's talking about, this NFL weekend, how it was the best weekend. It was. But I'll tell you what, I'm more excited about something else. I'm more excited that I found out about this sugar-free root beer. I became a diabetic. And I was like, crap, I can't have root beer. I can't have Cokes. I can't have all the things I drink.
Wow.
But then my wife brings home this sugar-free root beer. I'm like, oh, God, this is going to taste like crap. Tastes just like root beer, guys. I'm telling you, it's the best thing in the world. I'm addicted. It's better than alcohol. I'm telling you all that right now. But that's what I'm excited about. But anyway, Will, how are you doing tonight, man?
Doing well. Just excited for all these topics that just popped up in the last hour and a half. It's going to be a good night.
A lot of topics tonight, man. And before I get to Jonathan, a preview of it. We're going to talk the wild, crazy NFL weekend that it was. I'm just glad, I was telling the guys earlier, I'm just glad I'm not part of any of these sports fan bases because I hope all the losing teams, I feel sorry for them, except for the Green Bay Packers. But I do feel sorry. I hope they get to feel what the Dallas Cowboys have been feeling for the last 26 years. That's the only Dallas Cowboys segment I'm going to get in today because I'm a huge Dallas Cowboy fan. But everyone, I hope that's how the Dallas Cowboys lose games, every single one of those playoff games. But also, man, we have a preview of the Championship Sunday. I think it's going to be a great Championship Sunday. Hall of Fame baseball started. Voters voted who they think should be in the Hall of Fame. We're going to get that's going to be a hot topic, I think, between all three of us. And then also Sean Payton breaking news that he wants to retire from coaching. I don't believe that for 1 second. But Jonathan, I'll get to you, man. How's your week going? How's LA, baby? How's LA?
Man, you know how LA is. It's always so lively. It's always on and popping out here. You know, it's so Hollywood if you buy into all that stuff, but hey, it's just another day in paradise for me. I'm glad to be back for another week. I think this is going to be a great show. It's going to be interesting. We got some interesting topics to talk about. What a wild, crazy weekend it was in the NFL. And I think it's going to be even more exciting. I'm ready for Sunday already. It can't come soon enough.
Are you ready for Sunday? Because it's kind of like that the season we're like, crap. It's going to come quick, and then all of a sudden football season's over, right? Like, we're like, crap. What are we going to do on our Sundays now, right?
NBA for me.
Oh, yeah, but the NBA doesn't get interesting till after the All-Star break.
That's true. After the second half of the season,
boy, do I have to talk about that.
Exciting.
I mean, no, I watch games. I just feel like I don't get into it until like I really don't care. Like my team's Golden State is just because of Steph Curry. I'm just telling you all that right now. I was a Laker fan until LeBron James, but that's a topic for another story. I watch all the Warrior games on my iPad, TV, whatever the case may be. I subscribe to so I can watch on NBA League Pass, but I really don't care if they lose or not until after the All-Star break. But the storylines are great. The storylines are phenomenal. NBA, you can count on drama, that's for sure. But we'll get into that a little bit later, Will. I see your face there. I know you want to get into it, but we're going to get into it later. Okay? But first, we got to talk about what was the best weekend of NFL football we have ever seen after a dud of wildcard games. The divisional round lived up to the hype. They lived up to why everyone loves the divisional round. You finally get the good teams in, facing one another. We have the Bengals upsetting the Titans. I don't call it an upset. I actually picked the Bengals to win that game. The 49ers upsetting the Green Bay Packers, choke Aaron Rodgers. Like I said, we're going to talk about him later too. I can't wait to get that topic. I surely cannot wait to get that topic. And then we had the Buccaneers falling short against the Rams, who the Rams tried everything in the world to give it away. Jonathan Mathis probably has a lot to say about that, being a Rams fan. I wish Coach Gio was here to talk about that. But Coach Gio's on cloud 9 right now. He's in heaven. I don't know. His Georgia Bulldogs, Rams are all moving on. But then also, best, and it was hard to top, right? Out of those 3 games, the best game of the season was that Bills Chiefs game. And boy, did it live up. I think that was an AFC championship game. But Bengals might have something to say about that. But let's start with that. Let's start game by game right now. Jonathan, I want to get your perspective on this one right now. Did Ryan Tannehill lose that game, or the Bengals win that game? Are the Bengals a real threat?
Yes, the Bengals to me are a real threat. Here's why. They have a high-flying offense led by a very good up-and-coming quarterback, Joe Burrow. I mean, he is setting the league on fire right now with his ability to throw the ball down the field and stretch the field. And then you have an absolute stud who can make sensational plays for you. That is Jamar Chase. I talked about him last week on this show. I mean, I can't say enough about how good he is in his rookie season. I mean, this is a man who is very poised, very athletic, very explosive, and can make plays down the field. So I think the Cincinnati Bengals have a very good team. Imagine if they had an offensive line, how really good they will be if Joe Burrow had the protection. But it shows me that Joe Burrow is a good quarterback, able to take a beating as much as he does, able to take the hits and get back up and continue to make plays. It's really amazing. Now for the Tennessee Titans, Ryan Tannehill, he's a huge part of the blame, but do you want to place all the blame on him? They put him in that situation to make those throws. I know Derrick Henry came back. It was his first game. He returned. You got to run the ball. That's a run-heavy offense. You got to run the ball. You got to stick to what you know. And for the Tennessee Titans, that's running the football. The strength of their offense is the run game. And so to see Ryan Tannehill make a lot of throws in that game, particularly early, it set him up for failure. He made a lot of mistakes, turned over the ball way too much. It was an interesting stat that floated around actually about him. He threw an interception on the opening drive, threw an interception to begin the second half, and threw an interception, I believe, on the final drive of the game as well. So it wasn't a good day for him. Too many turnovers. I mean, this guy got sneaker game, but as far as his quarterback game, it's questionable to me. But hats off to the Cincinnati Bengals. They went on the road. They took care of business. They won, and now they're moving on to bigger and better things. And I can't wait to see them play against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, the Bengals are a good team. But they can't give up 9 sacks. I mean, good God, Kansas City is not going to turn the ball over 4 times. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves. Cincinnati, Joe Burrow, Chase, we all agree they're probably the next phenomenal thing. Everyone's comparing Joe Burrow to Tom Brady, right? I don't see it. I think he's more Joe Montana, to be honest with you. I think that moxie, I think that he doesn't have the biggest arm in the world, but he's confident. Everything's chill for him, everything. But he's going to be I wasn't sold with him coming out of LSU. I thought it was just a system from what the offensive coordinator at the LSU brought in at the time. I thought because before that, Ohio State didn't want him. No, he wasn't playing very good at LSU until they brought in Joe Brady, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought but hats off. He got his guy. He's playing great. I mean, he tore his ACL last year. Usually takes 2 years before you get more confidence in it. But that guy's just saying, screw the ACL. I don't care. I'll take 9 sacks and I'll still shove it down your throat and still throw. He has all the cockiness in the world, which is all good, but it also can get you in trouble too. Ask Brett Favre that as well. But right now it's working out for him, especially when we have 3 great wide receivers or 2 good wide receivers and a great wide receiver in Jamar Chase, who we can all agree is going to be the best. But Ryan Tannehill gave Cincinnati all the confidence in the world with that first intercept, that first ball he threw. And then the second half. And then the last, I don't know what he's seeing. He's trying to – I just believe Ryan Tannehill blew that game, but I'll get in a little bit later. Will, you're from Ohio. Is that all they're talking about in Cincinnati is Joe Burrow and how Cincinnati's going to beat up on the Kansas City Chiefs? Or are they saying, oh, the AFC Championship, all good enough?
I mean, I'm on the north side of Ohio.
Doesn't matter.
People forget about Cincinnati. People are still talking about the Browns up here and this and that. I mean, trust me. If you ask me, I mean, I think this team, like I said, I think this team's got it. I said previous casts that this team just they're young. They fly high. They're kind of cocky. They don't know how to lose because they haven't lost. They're when you have that, they've lost, but it doesn't. Their egos are so big right now because they're so young and so good. They know it. They know they can put up 40 if they need to put up 40. They know if they got to do this, they got to do this. I feel like their defense feeds off that offense. I mean, they scored every other play, every other drive. They tried to get points, and that's what it was. Field goal, field goal, field goal. I saw people complaining like, oh, they're just getting field goals. They're going to win the game with field goals. Yeah, but they're putting points on the board. And in the playoffs, you need points. Every drive's got to end with some kind of points, whether it's 3, 7, something. I mean, as far as who lost this game, I would like to say that Vrabel lost this game. I said, is King Henry going to be 100%? What are they going to do? Are they going to try to split time? Are they going to give him the ball all the time? I mean, Tannehill threw it 24 times. I don't know if that's a lot or a little for him compared to for their offense. But, I mean, Henry touched it 20 times. Foreman only touched it 4 times. I mean, I think they needed – with the way King Henry was running it, he was only averaging like 2 yards at one point, this, that, and another, 1.9, 2.3, like nothing crazy. They just kept doing the old mentality, give it to him, he's going to break one, He never broke one because that front 7 for the Bengals looks so good. I think I would have liked to see some more Foreman, some more pass plays, the dump passes to the back, something like that to get him out in open field. We know Henry's been working on catching balls better. But they didn't get those guys out in space. If they get them out in space, might be a little bit different. You might catch that screen pass and break a couple tackles for a 40-yard, 50-yard game. Maybe like King Henry's done in the past, take one to the yard for 50 yards as a reception. I did like what I saw out of the Bengals is just they just didn't give up. They did everything. Mixon got involved. They're using that guy to save him, to give Burrow some extra time. Let him scan the offense, check down plays, audibles. I mean, you just can't give up 12 catches to 200 yards between 2 guys. I mean, we know the receivers are so good and talented. Last year was all about T. Higgins. Now they have Jamar Chase, and it's almost like you forget about T. Higgins. But he's still there. If they're open, Burrow's going to find them. He's got the arm strength. He's going to make every throw. He's got the confidence. He's got the swag. We see it with the glasses. We see it with his outfits. I mean, the more they keep going, they're not even supposed to be here. Zach Taylor's just happy to still have a job. He lost the first 2 years. Most coaches don't get a third chance, and look where they are with his third chance. He's got these guys rocking and rolling right now.
Patience.
Yeah. Before I get into it, a couple comments. Dre Montez, what's up? What's up, man? Good to being a viewer. I'm glad you're watching. Also, Rudy Campos Jr., host of Sweep the League, the radio show. You can catch his show every Sunday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer. If you don't live in the San Antonio area, you can always download the app or go online and go to 9:30 a.m. and listen to his show with Derek Gervin. That is the brother of George Gervin, mind you, the great Iceman from the San Antonio Spurs. They host a show every 2 hours. Call into their phone number. We'll give it out later. I forgot the phone number on top of my head, but give them a call if you want to vent about your teams or whatever. They're there for you for that. So thank you, Rudy. We appreciate everything, setting up this platform and giving us, me and Will, a chance. And Jonathan, we all know Rudy. So good to see you on there. Okay. The Bengals have had a good ride, right?
Yeah.
That offensive line is going to be the trouble. If Tyrann Mathieu is going to play, this game's a wrap. Tyrann Mathieu, that game doesn't even go to overtime with the Bills if Tyrann Mathieu is playing. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves. He got injured last week. I think that's going to be the X factor. Trey Trayvon Matthews plays, it's game over for the Bengals. But I've said that before about the Bengals, but they have cocky and moxie. The Bengals defense, yes, if they're not forcing turnover, they kind of remind me of the Dallas Cowboy defense, right? They kind of remind me, like, if they don't turn the ball over, they're giving up big yards. That's what the Dallas Cowboys did. They're giving up yards. You can't give up yards to this Kansas City Chiefs team. What are you going to do with this Kansas City Chiefs team? I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I'm just saying. You saw what Tyreek Hill and all of his weapons can do. Now they have.
He looked healthy.
Exactly, he looked very healthy. Kelsey looks
real healthy.
Clyde however you say his freaking name, the running back for the Chiefs, he's back in action. I'm just saying, good luck. We'll get into that a little bit later. But I give it up to this Bengals team, man. Joe Burrow, I give it up to you. You have 3 stud wide receivers. That offensive line is going to have to hold up. That offensive line is going to have to not give up 9 sacks because Patrick Mahomes is not going to let you escape through 3 turnovers. He's not going to give you the ball over 3 times.
I'm not sure they can hold up, though. That's been their issue all year long.
But
I don't think it matters. Look at the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs game, 30-30, 40-40. I mean, Gabriel Davis caught 8 for 200 and 4 touchdowns. Yeah. I mean, you don't think Jamar Chase can't do that, or T. Higgins, or Tyler Boyd, or Uzma? I mean, any one of those guys that have the probability. We know that Chiefs defense isn't that great too. So I mean, you could see 40-40.
You say they're not great, but after week 8 or whatever, after their little win streak that they had, they were the best defense in the league giving up points. They're only giving up 13 points a game. I'm just saying,
right, but they're spotty.
We can possibly see another epic showdown next week.
I know a lot of people before they hit me up on Twitter and everything else that the Bengals beat the Chiefs in the second to last game of the season.
Who cares?
That's not the same thing here. This is a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes has been there. Joe Burrow hasn't. I just saying, but I'm talking about this Titans game real quick. Titans got to find themselves a new quarterback. I love Ryan Tannehill. I thought he was going to be a good quarterback. I thought that change of scenery is going to work out for him. He's not the man. He's not better than Dak Prescott. He's not even a top 10 quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback. And when your running game's not going efficient, when you need Ryan Tannehill to help you win a game, it's not going to happen. We saw that point blank in case right there. He can't throw the ball. He's good on the play action, right? Like if he's running the ball well in the play action pass and you have those one-on-one, but reading defenses and stuff like that, Ryan Tannehill is not your guy. And I've said this before, Derrick Henry coming back, it was a great momentum booster for that. But at the same time, he hasn't played since Halloween night, and he was not the same. We saw it on the 4th and 1. And can we go back to that 3rd and 1 call that they call of Ryan Tannehill running the ball instead of giving to your best feature back and Derrick Henry? For good God, Derrick Henry can get the ball and run. You can tell me in 2 downs he can't get 1 yard. Give me a freaking break. It's a Marshawn Lynch thing all over again with the Seattle Seahawks.
Ryan Tannehill, he reminds me of a mild version of Jared Goff. He needs a strong running game behind him, and that's how it was here in LA when Jared Goff was the quarterback for the Rams. He had a security blanket, and that security blanket was, of course, Todd Gurley. Once Todd Gurley left, you started to see the glaring weaknesses in Jared Goff's game. Well, that's kind of similar to what you see with Ryan Tannehill as well.
My thing with Tannehill, I think he's the next Fitzpatrick. He's not your guy, but he's that bridge quarterback. He's gonna win you games, but he's gonna lose you games.
Right.
I mean, he's just a younger version of Fitzpatrick. And let's be honest, when he got drafted, what did they talk about when Ryan Tannehill got drafted by Miami? You guys remember? His wife in the red dress. No one cared about him. They wanted to know about his wife in the red dress.
I forgot about that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I remember that.
I never. There's been so many storylines since then. I don't remember hardly any of those.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, that was the biggest talk of the draft was who is that? That's his wife in the red dress, and she got a job with ESPN real quick. She got a job with, was it the SEC network real quick too? I mean, like, she just all of a sudden, because he got drafted, all of a sudden propelled huge. I mean, he's never been the talk. He's never been fancy or anything like that, but I think he's just going to be the next bridge quarterback like Fitzpatrick. You're going to want him to groom somebody. You're going to use him to win some games. He's never going to be the guy.
Some quarterbacks are going to flourish behind a strong running game. You see that with Jimmy G. You see that with Ryan Tannehill, and you saw that with Jared Goff. It's just some quarterbacks require a strong running game behind them for them to, perform consistently, or at least sometimes consistently.
Right.
But a running game always helps for a game managing quarterback.
Amen, Dallas Cowboys. Are you listening? Jonathan Matthews will tell you the truth, Dallas. Just kidding. Anyway, let's move on. I would say one last thing before Ryan Tannehill. You have 2 all-star, all-pro, all-elite wide receivers, and you throw up that. I'm just saying. We saw A.J. Brown do that one-handed grab in the end zone to pick the – I mean, you have Julio Jones as well. You have all these – and you still I'm just sorry. Ryan Tannehill is not the guy for me. I'll start looking for a different quarterback. Now let's move on to the game I want to talk about. That bad man, Aaron Rodgers.
Here we go.
He can't do it. He's a bad man. He's the best quarterback in the league. The best quarterback in the league can only give you 10 points in a snowy Green Bay. Whenever that's all you talk about is that, they have to come to Lambeau in the frigid temperatures and the 0-degree weather and how this is our turf. And you look masterful on the first drive, but that's after that 3 points. 3 points? Really? I know field goal got blocked, whatever. So they're tied in, fumbled the football. But you know what? You still only got 10 points. The Cowboys got more over the 49ers. I'm just saying. So the Cowboys are better. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. I'm kidding. No, but I will say this. I've said this in the past. I say this now. The reason I gave the 49ers, I said it was going to be close. I picked the Packers to win, but I thought the 49ers were going to keep it close. But I didn't think they were going to win. But my God, somehow they won that game thanks to Deebo Samuel and Mitchell in that defense and the special teams. For God's sake, I hope – have they not fired that Packers to special teams guy yet? Good God. Anyway, that's what cost them the game. But Aaron Rodgers only giving you up 10 points, and there's going to be a lot of talk. We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers throughout the offseason, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to talk about him very much right now. But talk about Ryan Tannehill. Jimmy G has 2 touchdowns in his playoff career to 5 interceptions. He averages 130 yards passing a game. Yet he's 4-0 in play. He's 4-1 in playoffs. This is why football is a team sport. This is why stats really don't matter in a lot of football statistic-wise. You look at the stat. It's a team game. This is truth. The only team game, right? It's the only team game that you can call a team game. Basketball, superstar takes over, whatever the case may be. Baseball, like a hitter hits a home run, pitcher, stuff like that. Football is the only team sport in the world. But so I will say this. Did Aaron Rodgers choke, or do we just give the 49ers defense that much credit? Will.
I'm going to say both. I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't look that great. That offensive line looked struggles. I mean, he had 5 sacks. They say he's more mobile than you think. I mean, 5 sacks for 30 yards lost. I mean, he only threw it 29 times for 200 yards, 225. He just didn't look like himself. Didn't really have a good run game either. So, I mean, I feel like if you don't have a good established run game, like we said about some of these other quarterbacks previously, you're not going to have an up-tempo game. With that being said, I think the Niners defense knew they had to come in and stop the run, make Aaron throw it. It's cold, it's Lambeau, blah, 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 all the fun stuff that gets repetitively said every week. But I just think they stepped up. Kyle Shanahan knows how to coach. He knows how to get his people in the right place. He knows how to do all this stuff. He keeps his players in their zone. He doesn't ask them to do more than what they're capable. So I say it's 50-50. I think Aaron choked. He's got that wonderful stigma of he's a regular season quarterback. Trey, you like to say that a lot.
Am I wrong?
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, I mean, all season you're going to hear he's a great quarterback, he's a bad man, and then when it comes time to do it, I mean, let's be honest. 2 of the greatest quarterbacks in the NFL played for 30 years together. How many Super Bowls do they have combined? 2? I mean, come on. Anyways, but Jimmy G, they don't ask him to do a whole lot. He's been with Kyle Shanahan. He knows what Kyle Shanahan wants from him. Kyle Shanahan asked him to do very little. It says, look, we're going to run it. They ran it 30 times. And now Deebo Samuels, well, we're not going to throw it to you. We're going to let you run. We're going to design run plays. We're going to design this. We're going to do this. Give that guy a ball and let him do what he wants. Get him in space. They let Kittles touch it. Not a ton, but he was effective. When you only throw it 19 times for 130 yards and he had 4 sacks, that defense stepped up. They knew what they needed to do, and they did what they had to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely that defense is phenomenal. The front, I wouldn't say their defense is phenomenal. I would say their front four is phenomenal. That front, when you can get a pass rusher with just your front four and don't have to blitz anybody, that's just saying something that can help out your secondary. You can drop eight in the backfield and guard. But I will say this about Aaron Rodgers: everyone talks about how great, but he's also a selfless SOB. I'm just going to say that right now. He could have won that game. If you just look at the replays, the film, whatever the case. He had what's his name, Lazard, wide. Oh, no one within 20 yards of this guy down the middle. But yeah, he wants to go double team to his man. What's his name?
Adams.
Adams. I get him mixed up with somebody else, but Adams. And wants to prove that he can get when double teamed in the snow. But yeah, you have Lazard, you can get over midfield, field goal range, run the clock out, you probably win the game. That's just the arrogant cockiness that Aaron Rodgers is, and he doesn't trust anybody, and that's why a lot of people don't like him. But I will say this, Aaron Rodgers, like I said, he's a regular season quarterback. His Scotty numbers are great in the regular season, but in the postseason, yeah, I mean, just look at last year in the NFC Championship game. Tom Brady turned the ball over 3 times in the second half. What do you do on all 3 of those possessions? 3 and outs. And then he wants to blame everybody but himself, right? He wants to blame everybody, but I'm not going to go there. We're going to talk Aaron Rodgers a lot. I can't stand the guy. And if he's watching this, he can call me a bum just like he called me a writer, whatever the case may be. He can call me a bum. That means I made it in the league. I don't care what he thinks. I really don't care what anyone thinks. Because I do sports broadcasting. But Jonathan Mathis, yeah, this team beat your Rams twice already.
Aaron Rodgers, the presumptive favorite to win a consecutive MVP award. Does he really deserve the MVP award? I know it's an award that is won based on your performance during the regular season, but let's not kid ourselves. This man did not show up when it mattered the most. He did not show up in frigid weather. He did not carry his team on his back. Aaron Rodgers was the biggest fraud this weekend. He was a complete fraud, and he played terrible. It was a horrible performance from start to finish by a quarterback that everyone says played like the MVP. He's a bad man. He's this. He's that. He can do this. He could put his team in the best position to win. But when he was on the big stage, he couldn't get it done. He couldn't prevail. He couldn't help get his team over the hump. He couldn't propel his team to victory. And the Green Bay Packers lose to the underdogs. They lose to the 49ers in an embarrassing fashion at home at Lambeau Field, where they were expected to win because why? That's a tough place to play, right? But Aaron Rodgers can't get it done, and now he wants to point the finger at everybody else. Well, Aaron Rodgers, I think you should look at yourself in the mirror and realize how bad and poorly you played in a big moment. I don't know if you were out there to sabotage your team because you're disgruntled, you're unhappy. I don't know if you just had an off night and forgot there was a football game on the schedule that night. I don't know what happened to you, but you certainly wasn't that bad man that everyone likes to call you. And now you are painted as this villain. And then he had the nerve to say that people were rooting for them to lose because of his vaccination status. Are you kidding me? No, they were probably rooting for you to lose because you're a big drama queen and you like to be at the center of attention, and you always have to be this big drama queen, and it's enough. Aaron Rodgers can walk away from the game as a one-time Super Bowl champion, because that's the only championship that he will ever get. And at least he can say he got one. That's better than 0. But he's not winning any more championships. And I think this was the last of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not saying he's retiring, but I think this was the last of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
Well said. I couldn't say it better myself. I'm just fun. That defense held him to 10 points. 49ers didn't score an offensive touchdown. They didn't. But they the defense kept him in the game. I thought after the first series, this is going to be a blowout. I almost turned the channel. I'm like, I don't want to watch this.
And Trey, I forgot to mention this too. How about Debo Samuel? He was running all over the place. He was snatching chains. He was running between the tackles. He stole Aaron Rodgers' bike at the end. I mean, how perfect was that for the 49ers, for all the 49er fans out there?
Dude, Debo Samuel, honestly, if you gave me a vote, he'd be MVP for me. Not by numbers, but just what he did for this team whenever Jimmy Garoppolo, when it was going in between Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and everything. They kept him in the playoff picture. Now look what he's doing. Debo Samuel is the funnest, is it the word funnest NFL player to watch right now? I mean, besides Patrick Mahomes, maybe. I just think that Debo Samuel, every time he gets the ball, you don't know what you're going to get. It's electrifying. It's fun. It's fun. He has speed. I told everyone after they beat the Cowboys, I was pissed off that they lost. I'm like, this is a good team. They're just healthy now. They're healthy. And look what's happening. They got Kittle back in midseason. They got their offensive line back. They got Samuel's been a beast in the second half. Mitchell's come. It doesn't matter who you put in a running back. Mitchell's having a hell of a year too. It doesn't matter who your quarterback is. Hell, put Trey Lance in there, probably be more dynamic because of his run ability, right?
Exactly.
So it's Kyle Shanahan and his playmaking ability, his play calling ability. Dude, Kyle Shanahan, if he ran the ball against the Patriots in that Super Bowl, he'd be a Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator. This guy knows how to coach when his team's healthy, and his team's finally healthy this year, and they're better than the 60. It kind of reminds me of the Green Bay Packer team that Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, right? They got healthy and got hot at the last and got in as the 6th seed, and they went on the road and just one game, us against the world mentality. Yeah. I'm just saying 49ers, I'm not picking any games right now, but I'm saying I won't be surprised if they win the Super Bowl.
The funny thing, like bringing up what you said earlier about their front four putting all that pressure on. Remember, what was it, like 4 or 5 years ago? They had four first-round draft picks on their defensive line, and they started getting rid of them for trading them for whatever reason. Or this reminds me of that front four, just like Washington's defense last year. That's what made them so good. You don't have to blitz. You don't have to. They're getting pressure with just 4 people. But like going back to the Aaron Rodgers thing, I mean, today on the McAfee thing, the highlights of that was he's saying that they need to get a long-term deal and not franchise tag Devontae Adams. But this team's upside down on money. Yeah. They're $40 million in the hole already, and they got to sign Devontae. They got to work out a long-term deal with Rodgers if he's going to stay. And he doesn't want to be there for a rebuild, but they have no money. What do you do when you're the second worst team on your budget?
Exactly. But we'll get into that a little bit later too. But right now I want to move on to Jonathan Mathis' team, where he probably had his heart pounding off his chest, chairs flying all the world. He probably thought the game was over when Tom Brady came back and tied the game up, but it really wasn't Tom Brady. It was actually that Rams offense giving the game away almost. But I want to talk. It might be the last we ever seen with Tom Brady. The way he's talking in his interviews and everything, I never heard Tom Brady talk like this before. And let's just face it. I'm not making excuses. The Buccaneers' they didn't have any weapons. They lost all their weapons. They did, but the Rams took care of it. They do what's supposed to do. That defense that's flying around. That defense is playing phenomenal ball right now. They're ball hawking. They're creating turnovers. Jonathan Mathis, are you praying to your lucky stars that Bulls blitzed on that one play, or you just blaming the Buccaneers' bad defense, or what? Explain how your feelings were and how you believe the Rams won this game, or how they almost lost it.
Oh man, there was butterflies going through my stomach. Late in that fourth quarter, I really thought that Tom Brady was gonna once again pull off one of his miraculous comebacks that we are accustomed to seeing, and he was very, very, very close to doing that. No lead is ever safe when you have Tom Brady as the opposing quarterback, and we got a glimpse of that once again. But the Rams were fortunate enough to hold on, win the ball game, secure a victory, and punch their ticket to the NFC championship game. But they had too many fumbles. Too many lost fumbles in that game, and if you take away those fumbles, the Rams would have easily and probably should have blown out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the first half for Tampa Bay was very deflating. It looked as if the Rams were going to put them away for good. And then all of a sudden you see the momentum shift in the favor of the Bucs, all because the Rams couldn't take care of the football. They have ball security issues. Cooper Kupp with the rare fumble. That was unreal, hard to believe, because this is a guy who does a good job coming down with the catch and securing the ball and making things happen with his amazing feet and his incredible athleticism. And then I believe another fumble happened with Cam Akers, if I'm correct. Was it? Yeah, Cam Akers fumbled twice. He coughed it up a few times. I don't know if it was butterfingers or nerves or what was going on for them to turn over the ball multiple times, but they're going to have to clean that stuff up against the 49ers, because the 49ers will take advantage of those mistakes. They'll capitalize on it with that incredible ground game of theirs, because the Rams, again, let's be real here. The Rams have struggled against the 49ers, and Kyle Shanahan and his offense have their number. We've seen it all season long. So, I mean, they can't afford to cough up the ball in big moments and give the 49ers a short field, because the Rams, I have my questions at times about their ability to stop the run. That's been one of their areas of concern, is slowing down the run game, their run defense. That's the reason why they acquired Von Miller during the regular season, to kind of address that glaring need and help tweak that part of their defense. And so they're going to have to be able to stop Deebo Samuel, and that's the big concern right there. Can they figure this guy out? Because they haven't been able to. And Kyle Shanahan, the kind of coach that he is, he's going to make it work offensively for his team, because they found a winning formula through Deebo Samuel and that strong running game, that power running game that has been working all year long for the 49ers, which is what has gotten them to this point. So the Rams are going to have to be up on their game. They can't make mistakes. They're going to have to clean that up. Sean McVay is going to have to establish the run game early so that can open up things offensively. Yes, the Rams have a lot of weapons. They have some nice shiny toys, but Sean McVay can't always play with his shiny toys. He's going to have to be a bit smarter and discipline himself and go back to the basics when he first became the coach of that team, which was running the football, so that could enable the Rams to, go to the play action, run different plays, get more creative with the offense. And if they're able to do that, they can come out with a win. But this game is going to be close. It's going to be a dogfight. I think it comes down to the wire. I think this weekend, in fact, is going to be just like what we saw last weekend. It's going to be some exciting football. It's going to be suspenseful and very compelling this week. But I guess I can say the Rams are going to slightly pull away if they don't make those mistakes, like I just said, and if they play smart football.
It's funny, you're talking about all their playmakers and everything like that, but can you answer me this, since you're a Rams lover, since Gio's not here, I can't pick on him.
Sure.
Why the hell is Sony Michel not in the game?
I asked that same question too, and again, that's Sean McVay, because Sean McVay, I guess he trusts Cam Akers more to make plays.
Who got him there?
But Sonny Michel did get him there. I don't understand that either.
After that, right before the half, the Rams are fixing to go in and score. Right, Cam Akers fumbles the ball. I want to put him back in. I don't care. Yeah. And you heard Chris Collinsworth say, I'm glad what Sean McVay did was giving the ball back to build his confidence. This guy is a playmaker. He can make people miss. He's a hell of a running back. But what's the one thing he's always been known to do is fumble the damn football. I would not have put him in because his confidence levels dropped no matter if you gave him the ball or not.
Right.
Tony Michel's
he hasn't been playing very long.
Tony Michel has championship degree pedigree.
Right.
I'm just sorry. Sean McVay, he's a good coach, he's a good play caller, but sometimes
Sean McVay, he tries to get too cute, too innovative, I think you can say. And that sometimes proves costly for his team. That goes back to what I was saying. You got to play smart football. Use the players that's working for you. That is gonna help your team be more productive. And you're right. Sonny Michel should get more touches for what he's been able to do. He doesn't fumble the ball. He's not like Cam Akers, the second coming of Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber used to fumble the damn ball all the time. Was an electrifying running back, was a decent running back. That's what you see with Cam Akers, but he can never hold on to the football, and that's not good, especially in a game this week, a game of this magnitude. You're going to have to hang on to the football. And it's that simple. It's going to come down to that. It's also going to come down to the secondary having to play very good too. Jalen Ramsey is going to have to be on his game. I didn't like what I saw late in that game. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Mike Evans, man, he baked him. He baked him big time. Jalen Ramsey does all this barking and talking, but sometimes he gets blown in coverage, and it's not a good look for a guy who is deemed to be this shutdown corner. So yeah, I think if the Rams, like I said, the keys to the game, establish the run early, open up the things offensively so you can, dial up more plays and get more creative with your offense, and get on the scoreboard early. And if you have a big lead, don't squander it this time. Hold on to it. Don't get too complacent. Don't relax. And don't count out the 49ers, because the 49ers, they really enjoy playing this Rams team, and it has shown in the previous matchups.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because let's just be honest with ourselves. It's going to be a home game for the 49ers. Let's just be straight up. It's going to be a home game. It's going to be like 60-40, maybe 75-25, whatever the case. It's going to be a home game for the 49ers. And which it should. Let's just be honest with ourselves, because why I'm saying that is LA, this is a new team in LA.
Right.
So they didn't have a team for so many years, and so people were an Oakland Raider fan or a San Francisco 49er fan because that was their team. And now they're actually good, and you want them to give up their fandom for this last end. It's hard. It's one thing that's hard about LA, right? It's just because they never had that sports team. But I will say this, and I'll move on to Will after this. Todd Bowles should not get another head coaching job to save my life. He puts that defense on the last seconds of the game, not double teaming Cooper Rupp, putting a safety on whatever freaking reason that. I don't know what that was. That was stupid in the world. The only guy that could beat you in that scenario is Cooper Kupp. Don't give me Odell Beckham Jr. Cooper Kupp's the only guy who can beat you. He's the only guy who had record-setting season, right? Who probably should be the MVP in all case imaginable if you just look at his numbers. But we all know it's a quarterback trophy now. I'm just saying, Todd Bowles should not get another head coaching job with that performance, but the way that defense played on Sunday. But Will, 49ers, they're a team to reckon with. They're going to win the Super Bowl, aren't they?
I'm about winning the Super Bowl, but I think Kyle Shanahan's got that on his board. Like I think that that Atlanta game versus the Patriots still haunts the man. He's going to do whatever he can to fix his name. But I'm gonna be honest. I watched this game, and I turned it off quick. I got so upset over the incidental kick to Sue, and then Sue told his old friend what was going on and threw a flag. What? Okay. All right, they're going to call a tight game. Tom Brady gets hit in the face with a helmet.
Then he gets a personal foul penalty.
He mouths off to the ref and said a few choice words that we all got to hear. Flag. I'm like, all right, what is going on here? It just looked like they wanted Tampa Bay not to win. They looked like they wanted this game to get out of control. It got out of control.
Referee that did the Dallas Cowboy game. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying it looked like it was lopsided, and then all of a sudden I get a notification, and I was like, "Oh man, this game's crazy!" So I flipped back to it from what I was watching, and it looked. I mean, Tom Brady did Tom Brady things. You can't count him out, even when he's down 20 points. And if you look at it, he rode what he had to ride. Fournette gave him the ball. Just give playoff Lenny the ball. He's going to make things happen. Evans looked good. Gronk looked good. Scotty Miller started showing up. This Rams team, I mean, we said it before, Trey, give the ball to Michelle. Like, he's the guy. He's been doing well. He carried the ball. He did this. Are they going to let him run it? If McVay can run the ball, they're going to win games. Well, he ran the ball. He stuck to the running game, just like Gio said a couple weeks ago, to get, in the last round to get into the playoffs. They lost. But look, they ran the ball. They took the pressure off of Stafford. They ran the ball with the wrong person, obviously, is what we're coming up with. But he stuck to the run game. 30 rushes. That's a lot for a McVay team. Stafford still threw it 40 times, don't get me wrong. But Stafford's looking good in the playoffs. They're running the ball a lot, taking pressure off of him. He's making good decisions. What has he got? 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions right now? Mm-hmm. Something like that. I mean, he's looking good. And he's spreading the ball around to everybody. He's making the right decisions. Does he have that bad game in him? I don't know right now. I think his confidence is high. I think McVay is feeding him. They got the right plays. Their defense is, I think, getting healthy, playing better. But, I mean, Odell's been having a quiet end of the season since he got traded or picked up, more or less not traded. This guy just wants to play right now. I love him. He's an antic. He's animated. He's quiet every game. 4 to 6 catches, 40 to 60 yards. He had that run of 4 games in a row with a touchdown. He didn't get one this past weekend, but I guarantee he gets one next week. As far as I think the Niners aren't even going to worry about what they did to him the previous 2 matches. All that stuff's out the window. This is the only game that matters. It doesn't matter what we did before. I think they're going to try to use a lot of the same plays, but I think Shanahan's going to have some other stuff dialed up for him. As you're seeing, they're using Debo more and more to protect Jimmy. I think the Rams are going to make Jimmy G throw the ball. I think this is going to be the week, and I say it every week, but I honestly think this is going to be the week that Lance comes in and does some interesting plays, some options, some flea flickers, something. He's going to get the ball. He's going to do some rollouts. He's got the RPOs are going to be very heavy with him for his 8 plays that he's going to do, and he'll probably score on 2 of them.
So you think their nickels and their defensive front is going to take away that run game?
Whose?
The Rams. The Rams are going to take away the 49ers run game?
That they're going to have to if they want to win this game. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's not afraid to run it with no timeouts and 3 minutes to go.
Right.
They're a better version of the Tennessee Titans. Exactly. We're down, but we're still going to run it because their players are more electrifying. Look at Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell. I mean, these guys are playmakers. You get the ball out in space, they're going to do something. They can get you 40 yards on a backyard play. I just think the Rams have to take away the run game and make Jimmy G throw the ball. He's going to have to get more than 130 yards on the ground or in the air.
Yeah. I agree with that. I also think it comes down to how well Matthew Stafford plays too.
Right.
He's going to have to make smart decisions with the football, try to not throw into tight windows and, make the plays when necessary in this ball game, But I like what I've seen from Matthew Stafford. This is a guy who's been under so much criticism. This is a guy who people said couldn't play quarterback at the top level. They said that he would never be a franchise quarterback. You heard all the negative comments about Matthew Stafford, and since he's become a Ram, he has kind of revitalized his game, and he looks like a rejuvenated quarterback, one who can play at a high level. His confidence, I think, has skyrocketed. He's just a different player since he's come over to the LA Rams, and I think he's been able to showcase his talent, and that has been on full display since he has taken over as the Rams quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. A real quick note on this game: Trent Williams, their offensive lineman, they don't know if he's going to be able to go or not. That's going to be a tough. I have a hard time believing that he's not going to play this game. I'm sorry. But when you use him in motion to blow, I mean, good God, good luck. Doesn't matter how many. That guy can take away 3 of your defensive linemen. I don't know if he can take away Aaron Donald and Von Miller. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a good game, like y'all said. And I want to move on real quick to this game. Not real, yeah, a little real quick, but whatever. Because there's a lot more topics I want to talk about today. The best game of the weekend. I could not put my wife, who does not like sports at all. I'm telling you, she's like, this game's still on, that kind of woman. I'm just saying. She does not like sports at all. She's like, dang, 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 dang. And she's like watching it. I'm like, you know it's a good game. This game, 20 points, 25 points scored in the last 2 minutes of this game. And we all know that 13 seconds is not long enough with 3 timeouts with Patrick Mahomes. I'm just, with that weapon that he has and everything like that. Say what you want to. This is going to be Brady Manning 2. I think it's probably going to be better than Brady Manning 2 with the way the offenses are installed and everything like that. That the way the league has been more pro offense now than it was back when Manning and Brady were playing. I think you're going to see a lot more of this. I think this is the best rivalry you're going to see. A respectful rivalry, right? They both respect the hell out of each other. I feel bad for the Buffalo Bills because all the pain, all the 4 Super Bowls in a row, all the whatever the case may be. They had that game won. Why they don't squib kick it? I have no idea to save my life. Why they playing prevent defense and they're playing acting like they're trying to not let a touchdown instead of a field goal. I don't understand that at all either. I hate to take away that part of the game because it's such a good game.
Bad coaching.
It's bad coaching.
Yeah.
The pressure probably got to him a little bit. But because I guess you're afraid to play one-on-one, which I understand because Tyreek Hill just basically threw up the deuces when he was behind the defender and he just which should have been a taunting penalty, by the way, but no one called that. I'm glad they didn't call it because that's not right. I mean, I'm just glad the NFL let that one go for a little bit. But I'm just saying, was that the AFC Championship game? Like, I strongly believe that was the AFC champ. I think the Bengals are going to put up a good fight against the Chiefs, but I strongly believe whoever won that game is going to the Super Bowl. Prove me wrong, Jonathan Mathis.
Well, on paper, it's not the AFC Championship game, but
it was the AFC
it was an AFC Championship game because of how these two teams battled. I mean, this was an epic battle. It was probably the most epic battle in NFL history, and I called it the greatest football game in NFL history. I mean, it was honestly the greatest game that I've ever seen in my lifetime. And you know, I've watched a lot of football, guys. I was born in the mid '80s. You know, I grew up watching sports. I've seen a lot of football, but I don't think I've ever seen one that measures up to how great this one was. This one had everything. It was wild in the final 2 minutes. Josh Allen, who I feel for, I feel for the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen threw every punch he had. He did everything he could for the Buffalo Bills. It's a real shame that the defense collapsed, you know, in the final minutes of the game. The defense couldn't make plays. The defense couldn't, couldn't hold the Kansas City Chiefs from marching down the field. They had no answer for Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, we all know how poised and energetic he is as a player. Nothing seems to faze him, particularly in big moments. But when you look at this game, though, guys, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but to me, Josh Allen played an all-around better game than Patrick Mahomes. He outplayed him. I mean, I know they put up a significant amount of numbers. They both were incredible. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes was bad because Patrick Mahomes was anything but bad. He was sensational. I mean, both of these guys were remarkable. They provided the best quarterback duel in NFL history. You can almost argue that. But I mean, this game was simply amazing. Gabriel Davis had a record-setting night. 4 touchdowns, and this is the guy's second year as a wide receiver for the Buffalo Bills. But I think this even though this was a great game, and Buffalo Bills will eventually admit it once they're over it. They're suffering from pain right now. But that's where I wanted to get to. It's tough for Buffalo fans because this is the same fan base that had to experience, if they're old enough, they had to experience the team going to 4 straight Super Bowls and losing in all 4 tries. They have been known as choke artists. I mean, I hate to say that, but it is what it is. And it pains them even more to know that they lost to the team that they couldn't beat a year ago. They lost to Kansas City in 2 consecutive years. It sucks. And to see Josh Allen's performance go to waste, that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. For Buffalo, it ends in heartbreaking fashion, but for the Kansas City Chiefs, it ends in thrilling fashion. And I can't say enough about Patrick Mahomes. I can't say enough about both of these quarterbacks because they're simply amazing. And I'm with you guys. I think these 2 quarterbacks have taken over this league. I think they're going to be the faces of football for a very long time. And once Tom Brady does decide to retire, if he does leave this game is going to be fine without Tom Brady because you have up-and-coming quarterbacks who have already put their stamp on this league, have already kind of, solidified themselves as, top-level quarterbacks. So it's amazing to see, and this game is going to continue to grow and get better with these guys. But I think these guys will dominate the AFC, both of these teams, Kansas City particularly, and Buffalo will dominate the AFC for many years to come. But that was, oh my God, that was breathtaking.
I would say they would, but there's another guy named Joe Burrow and Cincinnati Bengals who are the Chargers can get their stuff together. I mean, I can't say the other word because that's a friendly show. I'm a Christian guy, so I can't really say this what I really wanted to say. But if Justin Herbert can get a good coach and a good defense, there's another quarterback. Right, the AFC is loaded with quarterbacks right now, and you're right, Jonathan. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady leave right now, will we really miss them? I mean. No. I mean, well, I don't think we would. Just look at all the good quarterbacks that we've seen around the league right now. And that's not even talking about if Trevor Lawrence gets a good quarterback. If he's going to be, we don't really know what the true Trevor Lawrence is going to be. Zach Wilson as well, the New York Jets. We don't know how good he's going to be. Justin Fields. We don't. I mean, this place is the NFL is going to be in good shape. And Patrick Mahomes, remember, is only in not even mid-20s yet. And he's only his 4th year starting, 5th year in the league, 4th year starting. Josh Allen, 4th year starting. This league is going to be fun to watch for years and years to come. The only thing going to help it is the revenue and the TV shares and everything. If it fumbles, if it goes down where you can't get the salary cap issues, like if the salary cap goes down, which I think it's going to go since they took the politics out of sport, out of the NFL. The NFL finally realized, hey, let's get I don't want to bring politics into this, but hey, let's don't do politics because we've seen what the NBA numbers are looking like. Then they stopped taking that and look. Everyone's talking about the NFL, right? Everyone's talking about how they love watching the NFL. We're not talking about anything else. I mean, that's just my opinion, but at the same time, they did a good job by the NFL by doing that and then also letting the rules. But this game is not going to miss Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. We're going to miss like the old-fashioned games and stuff like that, the Bradys and the Mannings and all that. But this game is far better, and NFL can help that, right, because of the offensive, all the defensive penalties that are now forced on the defense. It makes it impossible to guard anybody in one-on-one coverage. Let's just be straight up honest with ourselves. That's why you're seeing all these high-scoring games and everything. But I'll get into that a little bit later right after what Will's going to say, because I think Will's going to be – I think he's mad because he didn't get to bust any tables this weekend.
I mean, look, this is going to be a great game. It's not going to be the all-time greatest.
Whoa.
Josh Allen did not see the field. He did not get a chance. Come on. You got to give the man a chance, right? That NFL rule is – that's all anyone's complaining about. One of the greatest games I've ever seen. If Jonathan, you know this game. Come on now. November 19th, 2018. 51-54. Now, tell me that was not a great game.
That was a great game, but I don't know.
That was a great game.
Playoff magnitude that this one did, though.
I actually wrote about that game.
I'm just saying.
That was the Thursday night game. The Thursday night game.
That was everything you wanted in a football game between two supposed Super Bowl caliber teams.
Right. And that came in the wake of the shooting that happened in Thousand Oaks and the wildfires that we were experiencing here in Southern California. So that made it even more sentimental. Yeah.
I mean, Josh Allen, the talk on him is, can he show up? Can he perform in big games? He put everything he had to, and he showed it. He's like, I'm here. I can do it. I know my name.
He had 9 touchdown passes and 0 interceptions, almost 800 yards of passing in 2 games. That guy showed up. That guy did everything.
Put some respect on his name. He's here for a while. It's not Josh Allen who anymore. Can he do it? This guy can throw it. He can run it. I mean, he was
the offense, right? Because they had no running game. Singletary.
He's not afraid to run. That's one.
He had to. He had to run.
I mean, when you're 6'6", you're not going to be afraid to run it. I mean, he's putting hits on people.
Yeah.
Look what he did to Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, I'm not going to say he truck sticked him, but he tried to tackle him and he didn't go down and took him out of the game. He's a runner, wasn't a quarterback. You know, it was a bad play, bang, bang hit on the back of his head or on the top of his head. I can't remember. But, I mean, Josh Allen took Tyrann Mathieu out on a broken tackle. I mean, you don't get that out of most out of quarterbacks. They usually just take the hit, go down. You know, we talked, is Tyreek healthy? Wow, he looked great. I mean, he chunked up the deuces, 3 yards, 4 yards behind somebody and just burned them. Kelsey did what Kelsey did. I mean, Byron Pringle still somewhere coming out of here as the 5th wide receiver and just making catches, touchdowns. Mecole Hardman had some great runs. He had a great catch. I mean, they're loaded and everything's going the way they needed to go. They caught fire, you know, not too long ago. Are they still a Super Bowl caliber team? This team just knows how to win. It will be one of the greatest games. I was hoping to break some tables this weekend. Oh, man, this is such a good game. Yeah, but, I mean, the only thing that hurts it is the overtime thing.
Well, before you get into that, let me talk about that. Let me get into that. I want to ask y'all this. Does he overtime – I know everyone, this is a topic. Everyone there has discussions about, like, well, the defense needs to stop somebody. Should the NFL – and I'll give my opinion after y'all – but should the NFL change their to, like, college format? I'm not saying 25. Like, put it on the opposing team's 45-yard line. You know what I mean? Like, put it on your own 45-yard line. That's what I mean. Own 45-yard line and make it a little bit more difficult. Get the kickers out, no kickoffs, no anything. Because I'll tell my opinion, but where do y'all stand on that? Well, what do you think the NFL should do? Because it's a shame that Josh Allen didn't get to see the ball.
They should definitely implement a college-style overtime rule that would allow both teams to get the ball, because when you really look at it, the Bills lost on a coin toss. This happened a few years ago, actually, to Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes knows how that feels.
Absolutely.
Remember when they played the New England Patriots?
Mm-hmm. Tom Brady did it to him.
Tom Brady did it to him. So he knows exactly how Josh Allen was feeling after that game, which is why I think he, exchanged hugs with him and exchanged some humbling words with him after that game as well. Yes, but I would like to see that rule change, because then if it does, then both teams have an equal chance to see the ball and get a chance to tie it up or even win it in dramatic fashion. So I think that's a rule that the NFL should look into and should definitely change. There was a lot of talk about it after Sunday night's loss, after Buffalo's loss. A lot of the Bills fans were angry and outraged, and they were blaming it on that for the reason why they lost the game. Instead of looking at their number one top-ranked defense and their opportunistic defense that let down Josh Allen and the rest of the Buffalo Bills team, But I do agree with you, Trey. I think that something needs to be done about this rule so both teams can have a fair share of the pie.
Well, real quick, what do you say? I'll give my opinion on this. Then we'll move on.
I mean, they just changed this rule 2 years ago, I think, because of the Players Association, I believe. I think that's where it came from. I think they should change it. I don't know if it should go to the college style. I do like that possibility of starting at the 45, not the 25. But I mean, going to some of the comments, you got to change the rules. I know the Bills have the number one defense, but the reason why they lost, the reason why they were still in it was because of a kicker. He missed a field goal, an extra point. Come on. If that wouldn't have happened, it wouldn't have been so close that, you know, they wouldn't even gone to overtime. The reason why the Bills lost is bad coaching by a defensive head coach. But I don't know what the answer is. I think it should change. I don't want to necessarily go to 5 overtimes, any of that other stuff. That just gets fantasy football. I know this isn't the fantasy stuff, but it just makes fantasy football go crazy with stuff like that, with the opportunities. I think it needs to change. I don't know what it needs to change to. I don't think a touchdown kills overtime, personally.
Okay, well, I don't mind the NFL rule or the regular season rule in place. They keep this rule in the regular season. I'm fine with that because it's
okay.
You play 18 games. Keep this rule in place for that. I understand that. The playoffs, you need to look at something. The NFL wants to they want to make it score because everyone says chicks love the long ball, right? Well, people love scoring touchdowns. They don't want to see a defensive battle anymore, even though they're fun to watch every now and then. They're kind of fun, but people want to see touchdowns scored here, there, and there, and there. So the NFL implemented these rules like a lot. These defensive holdings, you can't touch a guy after 5 yards. You can't do. They're putting all these rules hard for a defender to defend the receivers and any offensive player in the world. So you have to look at that and say, yeah, a touchdown is just as significant, easy to score now just as a field goal, especially with these way the offenses are playing. Yes, we all know the Bills have the number one defense in the world, but at the same time, you're asking that defense to go back out there right after they just gave up the deploring drive and ask them to go back out there. You know, John, whoever won that coin flip was going to win that game on a touchdown. So what they need to do is keep the same rules in the regular season. Keep that. I don't mind that because I understand all that. In the playoffs, it doesn't need to end like this. We all know the Bills should have won that game, 13 seconds left. Doesn't matter if you have 3 timeouts left or not. Squib kick it, whatever the case may be. There's a lot of coaching decision errors like that. But we are going to have a game where we're not going to have a bailout call, the bailout, the coach, the NFL, because of the coaches making these boneheaded calls. We're going to have a good game where it's going to be back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, right? So what they need to do is, if you want to play one full quarter, if you want to do it that way, play one full quarter, 15 minutes, put it on the ball, and let's go. So that way, everything. Or if you want to do the 40, put it on your own 45-yard line, you got to go 75 or 55 yards. I don't care what the case may be, but you need to do something else because the way the NFL, they're penalizing the defensive team, everyone's like, oh, you need to play defense. It's hard as hell to keep these teams from scoring touchdowns and moving the ball down the field because of the stupid NFL rules that they put on the defensive side. If you look at the college side, you can hold, grab, do scratch, claw, do whatever the case may be as long as the ball's not in the air. In the NFL, you can barely breathe on a guy, and it's a freaking five-yard penalty on that first down. So, yes, it's a rule that needs to be changed. The NFL puts that rule in. They need to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? We can't – each team at least gets one possession. I don't care what the case may be. Play one full quarter, put it on the own 45-yard line, whatever the case may be. I don't care. But don't – I say put in that college rule like that, but what I'm also saying is don't bring in the college rule where after the third overtime you got to go by 2-point conversion. That's not football. I'm sorry. That's stupid. The way Alabama won against who they beat in that 4 overtime, Auburn. Auburn. Alabama's like, yeah, we won. You won on a 2-point conversion. That wasn't even football. Give me a freaking break. That's not football. You don't need to do that. And I understand what the college football is saying. But at the same time, it's football. Who cares? But the NFL needs to look at this rule. And no one's going to vote on this. I don't know why the NFL doesn't want to change their ways. It takes them forever to change their ways. They finally added a 17, which they probably shouldn't have done anyway. But whatever the case may be, the NFL is stuck in their ways. But they need to look at this rule in the playoffs and say, hey, we need to change this rule. But I want to move on. Real quick, guys, we got championship weekend coming up. We spent a little long time on these great games, which we should have because this has been the greatest NFL divisional playoff game I've seen in a long ass time. Championship preview. What I'm going to do is go 2 games, spend a minute or less on each one of these games. Who do you have and why? First game, 2 o'clock p.m. Central Time, 12 o'clock Pacific Time, where 3 East. You all know the time zones. Anyway, the Bengals, Joe Burrow, fearless Bengals, go to Kansas City and face the scorching Kansas City Chiefs. You giving the Bengals any chance to win this game?
They have a chance. They're going to be there. I think they're going to put up some points. I think they're going to do all that stuff. But I think little brother is going to get beat up by big brother. I mean, I think that's what's going to end up happening. I think it's going to be a good game, but I think the Chiefs are going to put their foot down and show their dominance of who they are and how they represent the AFC year in and year out right now. But I do believe this is the game that the Bengals lose. It's going to be a great game. I think it'll be a little bit closer, but I think just like last week, Kansas City's going to show up and shut them down when they need to.
All right, Jonathan Mathis, give your expert opinions. The judge, the guy who says it all, who's going to win. Let's go.
The Bengals are riding a wave of momentum right now going into this game. They believe they could beat anybody at this point right now with the way they have performed and the way they have played. They can, pile up the scoreboard. I'm going with the Bengals. I'm riding with Cool Joe. And I'm going with Jamar Chase. I can't bet against those guys. I think the Bengals pull it off in upset.
Wow. Okay. I applaud you going out on a limb like that, man. No one's giving the Bengals a chance. And I will say this. I think that the Chiefs going off that emotional win in Buffalo, I think that they're going to be focused on that. I don't think they're going to show up right away. I think the Bengals go out to an early lead. I think it's going to be close going to halftime, but by the fourth quarter comes, I think Patrick Mahomes and that offense is too much for that Bengals defense. If that makes any sense. I don't think they create enough turnovers. I think the Bengals hang in there to make it a game, but I also think that the Bengals are still kind of too young. I think the Bengals are up and coming. Don't get me wrong. I said they're going to win a couple playoff games, and I was right. But I think this time is in. Cam Chandler, please do not kill me. Don't go on my Twitter page. Don't do anything. I love Joe, bro. I love this Bengals team. I'm rooting for them. Whoever wins this game, I'm probably going for in the Super Bowl. I'm just going to be straight up on it, but I just not betting again. Patrick Mahomes is starting to become that man you do not bet against. He's only lost one playoff game, and that was on an offside penalty against Tom Brady in the AFC Championship game before he went to 2 consecutive Super Bowls. Look for the Chiefs to be the second team to go to 3 straight Super Bowls. I think Patrick Mahomes and offense is too elite. I don't think Bengals create enough turnovers. Give me the Chiefs in this one, 34-28. Now the game everyone in the world's waiting to see, which I don't think is going to be a good game. But anyway, it's not going to be a high-scoring game, I don't think. I think it's a AFC West rivalry. Sorry, I've been hanging with my 4-year-old all weekend. Rivalry game. 49ers own the Rams this year. They own SoFi Stadium. The 49er fans are going to be in attendance. Is Deebo Samuels and the 49ers in that defense going to pull off another upset and go to the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay.
I think the Rams, again, like I said earlier, cool, you've lost to them twice. That time doesn't matter. It's the present. One thing that hasn't been brought up, I don't think. You said the Super Bowl is where?
SoFi.
Oh, where do the Rams play?
SoFi.
What happened last year? Let's go.
They're totally different.
No, it's not. The Rams are going to win. They're going to play at their home. They're going to have the greatest halftime show ever. Come on. The Rams are going to show up. McVay knows he's lost twice. The only game that matters is this one. They're going to win. They're going to stay at home. They get to sleep in their own beds. They get to see Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, all those guys come to their house and have some fun.
But don't they see that anyway all season long? I don't know, celebrity Snoop Dogg and everyone always go to those Ram games anyway. Does that mean no difference? Who cares? And plus,
just another day, just another win.
I'm just saying.
Proving my point, Trey. You're proving my point.
Just
another day, just another win.
What I care about is the football game. I care about the stats and who wins the football game. That's what I care about. But I got the Rams winning this ball game. I think the Rams just have too much offensive firepower.
So do the Packers.
And Matthew Stafford is playing out of this world right now. He, like I said, he has a lot of confidence in his ability right now, and he is making plays. He's reading the field exceptionally well, putting his teammates in the best position to win, and he is utilizing all his weapons out there as well. And I think, again, the Rams are just an explosive team. That defense has been clicking on all cylinders. I think the defense shows up big in this game. I got the Rams beating the 49ers. I think this is the one time they get them. Third time's a charm.
Let's face it here. The Rams were a second half away from not even seeing the 49ers because all they had to do was win a stinking football game. They wouldn't have to see the 49ers in the playoffs. The Saints would have been in. The Eagles would have been in the 6th seed. Dallas would have been in the 2 seed. But whatever the case may be. But anyway, we're not talking about that. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a regular season. The Cowboys did it to the Eagles back in 2008 and another team, whatever. But it's hard to beat a team. But I'm here to tell you, my friends, Kyle Shanahan knows he's been there before. He knows how to call an offense. That defense, that front four, if you can get to Matthew Stafford, make him happy feet. Von Miller, though, is playing really well for the Los Angeles Rams. He looks like the Denver Von Miller from the Super Bowl MVP year that he had. He's starting to look like a little bit younger Von Miller, and we all know how Sam Darnold is. So, playmaking ability is Stafford going to be happy feet? Is that front four for the 49ers going to get to him? I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think that Cooper Kupp's not going to get as many touches as the other previous because I think because the 49ers actually know how to play the Rams offense, believe it or not. So you're going to have to look for Jefferson to have a good game on the receiving end. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to have at least – I think he's going to have at least 100 yards receiving. I think you're going to have to put Sony Michel in there. I won't even see Cam Akers in this game unless it's for a trick play or something like that. I won't even put Cam Akers in this game. But my question is, if Stafford's never been in this position before, is the pressure going to be on him, or is he going to be losing free? Remember, confidence is a bad thing too. When you start getting confident, that's when Stafford starts getting in trouble too a little bit. He thinks he can make every throw and tries to fit those tight windows, and that's when the interceptions started occurring. We saw that against the 49ers in Week 18 as well because they were up 17-0. He was confident. He was having a good game, and then all of a sudden he turned the ball over here, there, and we saw what the 49ers did. Came back from 17-0 in the blink of an eye, and they won in overtime. But I just cannot bet against this. I think this Rams team got all the lucky breaks this year. I think they got healthy at the right time. I think they got everyone clicking at the right when they need to be. They're all in right now. It's Super Bowl bust basically for them because they signed all these players to a 1-year contract.
They got no draft picks.
I think Gay, and I hope Gay is all right with the field goal kicking leg because I've never seen a 47-yard field goal short in my life in the NFL. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life last week. I guess because he was injured. I think he's going to be more healthy. I think he gets a game-winning field goal. I think they win 27-24. I think the Rams versus the Chiefs, and we get that electrifying Super Bowl that we're all going to clamor and see. That being the case, go vote on 49ers because I suck at picking games.
Same here, brother. I'm with you on that one. I suck at picking games as well. But we'll see how it goes.
I'm a true believer. If you actually watch, it's the same thing as March Madness, right? Like if you watch, like you're a diehard fan and you watch games, it's worse for you because like you're too depth into it and too many things can happen. I just think that the NFL wants the Final Four teams. I think they want the Rams and the 49ers. I think they want a high-scoring Super Bowl. I think that's what they're going to get. Let's move segue real quick to breaking news of the MLB. Right before we came on the show, sad news to report that Rodgers, Clemens, Barry Bonds, and Kurt Schilling,
yes,
they are not eligible for the Hall of Fame in their last years of voting. Will, I will ask you this because you have a hot topic on this. Actually, all three of us do. I think this is where we're going to disagree a lot. Does the MLB need to change their voters or their rules?
Voters. I mean, they're old. They're outdated. I mean, MLB is an old game. Look at the owners. I mean, I don't care. Allegations, they could be true. They could not be true. I don't care. Sammy Sosa, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens, what these guys did for the game when the game was on its way out the door, amazing. I mean, I remember when I was younger, and I'm the oldest one on the show, it sounds like, with just with what was going on with the long ball. I mean, who's the man that allegedly knew of all this stuff that was going on? Who's the man that's in the Hall of Fame? Who was the man that was overseeing all these things that were happening but never said anything or never dropped anything? Bud Selig. He's in there. Why aren't these people that he allowed to do all this stuff? You know, he frowned upon it, but he let it go. You know, he never investigated these guys. He never did anything. And this guy's sitting high. He's a great commissioner, whatever the case may be. I'm sorry. I don't care how big, how strong you are. If someone's throwing you a ball at 90 plus miles an hour, eye-hand coordination, you still got to be able to hit it. Just because you're the biggest and the strongest doesn't mean you can hit it 400, 500 feet. I don't care. Look at today's baseball game. These guys are throwing it faster, harder, bigger motion on the balls, and it's not any different. Roger Clemens knew how to strike people out. He was up there. You knew you were getting his best. I mean, he's played forever. He played for a lot of great organizations. He won everywhere he was. Like, he came from a national championship program. He was everything that he came out of college. He was everything that they said he was, and he just won everywhere he was. Bonds, same thing. He played great. It's not about his home runs. It's his on-base percentage that was amazing. He got the most walks every year. His eyesight for ball strikes were so good. Even when they were pitching around him, intentionally walking him. I mean, this guy was great. It's just sad to see that these guys, you only get 10 chances and these guys are out. I feel like it's the voters' fault. They hold a grudge. That's just my opinion.
I know Jonathan has a different opinion on this one from his Facebook post earlier today.
I'm in the minority with this, guys, because I don't, condone cheating. In any sport, really. Cheating, I know cheating has always been a part of baseball. I get it. I know players will do anything to get a competitive advantage over the next guy. I get it. But I can't. I just can't put someone that, got busted for PEDs or steroids and put them in the Hall of Fame. I mean, because to me, their legacies are tarnished. I can't do it. I mean, I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this because they think that these people belong because they, revived the game. They have been a huge part of the game. They have been a huge influence on the game. And I get it. And if you guys feel that they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, you guys are entitled to that. But I think differently. I think a lot of these writers do have a personal grudge, though, against some of these players, which is why they don't get in as well. A lot of the writers, believe it or not, never really cared for Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds used to attack a lot of the writers, used to call them out, used to go on rants in the clubhouse, and I think a lot of the writers have a personal vendetta against him, and they have used that against him, which is why it's one of the reasons he didn't get in. But these guys are marked by the steroid era. It's something that will follow their careers for the rest of their lives. Now, I understand what they did on the field. They were very productive players, but how do we know that, the PEDs didn't help with that? That's why they're performance enhancing drugs. They can boost their, their level of play, and so for me, it's just hard to put these guys in the Hall of Fame.
Let me ask you this real quick, since you disagree with me and Will, because I totally I'd say to ask two questions for you, Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Before Barry Bonds was alleged of steroid use, was he a Hall of Famer?
Right.
Was he?
Yes, he was a Hall of Famer.
Why are we holding that against him? He was a 400 player.
He was a 400 player, but when you get busted for steroids, how do we not know?
Did he get busted for steroids?
No, none of these teams got busted for steroids. They never tested positive.
He was never on trial with any of the other guys. He never.
I mean, just looking at his physical physique, you just assumed he was on steroids. That's what I did. He went from a skinny little running
170-pound college player to 210.
He really gained some pounds. He really, as opposed to his Pittsburgh days, where he was really skinny. And I remember those days. But you guys are right. He was. But I don't know. I don't. I mean, it's a touchy topic
Yeah.
for me, really. You know,
Not really.
But this is the thing that you guys will probably agree with me on. How in the heck does David Ortiz get in before those other guys?
David Ortiz was never linked to steroids. David Ortiz was an all-around good hitter. David Ortiz, as much as I hate to say it because I was a Yankee guy, he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
Led a remarkable comeback too. Don't forget about that.
Well, Kurt Schilling did too, right?
Yeah, but Kurt Schilling but I will say this: if you don't like cheating, then these pitchers today shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame ever in their lives either. With the sticky stuff that they were using, the MLB took it away. The sweat that they use over their head,
I mean, you know, baseball it's a lot of negatives to baseball. You know, it's really a complicated discussion to be had about baseball. Because, you know, you can make the argument that 90% of the league was on steroids. A lot of guys just didn't get caught or called out for it, you know. But, I mean, again, it's a touchy topic for me, and I just don't agree with using a substance that can help, you know, boost your game. That's just where I sit with it.
Right. Here's my question to you. If you're using a supplement, and for 4 years, not illegal, and then all of a sudden the MLB finds out you're using a supplement and you're riding high Mike Trout style.
Right.
And then they're like, well, what supplements are you using? You tell them, well, those are banned now. But he doesn't stop. So now he doesn't stop outperforming people. So like, you know, this whole creatine thing, like it wasn't banned until like it became light of the situation of who was using it.
Right. So what you're saying is that if it was legal at the time,
right.
Do
you hold it against him for his whole career because he was using it before it was illegal? That's Pandora's box right there.
Yeah, that's where it becomes difficult too. You know, it's just one of those things where it's really, really hard to explain and really talk about. But I mean, it's tough for me again to put them in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You know, maybe they are worthy if 90% of the league was on it for all we know. You know, maybe you do put them in because, again, I mean, for them to hit home runs at such a high level, that was pretty incredible stuff. I don't think we can deny that, you know. But it's just hard for me to say yes to those guys and put them in the Hall of Fame.
I respect that. I mean, it's crazy. Like it's something that you can argue. If you're a passionate baseball player, you could easily get into an argument with someone over this and argue for hours and hours and hours and never get anywhere.
And steroids had some positives to baseball and had some negatives. The positives were that you saw these incredible home run slugfests back in the day. To me, you know, the negatives to me is that a lot of people turned away from baseball after the steroid crisis, believe it or not. A lot of fans really stopped paying attention to the game.
But were those fans paying attention before that home run derby years? You know what I mean? They gained a lot of fans when they started hitting those long bombs for year after year after year. So the people that left the game, were they at the game before the game?
Because you can also say this too, that the strike, you know, in 94, remember the strike in the 94 season? You can also say that steroid era, you know, because of how those guys were hitting, that might have saved the game of baseball because the game of baseball was falling. It was dying at that point, you know, and it suddenly recovered after Sammy Sosa and I'm going blank on Mark McGwire. After they had that home run, that remarkable record-setting year for home runs. That was fun to watch, you know, but then come to find out later that, you know, this was in the middle of the steroid era. It was, you know, it kind of took my joy away for baseball. Although
there's other players you forget about that had phenomenal years before them.
Rafael Palmeiro,
Andres Galarrago,
steroids. Period.
Okay, I'm bringing in someone who wants to talk about this. I don't know if there's
Flintstone vitamins. Sammy Sosa said he took Flintstone vitamins.
All right.
All right.
We have Mr. Joel here. He's going to lighten you, Jonathan. He wants to talk about this. I'm going to let him know the floor.
Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, but listen, man, y'all got me fired up. I mean,
I can see.
This is ridiculous. I mean, Barry Bonds deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Do you know why I think that? And I'm specifically talking to the guy in the right corner. I don't know his name with the blue shirt on.
Jonathan.
So, how old are you, brother?
Talk to me. I'm 36. I'm 36 years old.
36 years old. I'm 41. So we've seen almost the same career as Barry Bonds. I've seen him a little bit skinnier and one hat size less than what he was when you may remember him. But he was on a trajectory of a Hall of Fame status before anything had happened.
Right.
You know, and then we watched the game as adults, and we all knew David Ortiz, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, whoever you want to put on this list was doing steroids, was doing PEDs, and we didn't care. You still watched the games, didn't you?
I still did.
You did. You were enlightened. Oh, my God. You were like, chicks dig the long ball. Let's see it, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I was enamored with the game of baseball at that time.
Exactly. I've always been enamored by the game of baseball growing up in the Northeast on Long Island, Mets all the way. I hated Barry Bonds. I was so happy I was there when the Mets won, when they pitched that one hitter and Barry Bonds was the last out of the playoffs. But that's a whole other thing. But, I mean, what you're going on with in terms of these guys who got in, not got in, the Hall of Fame should have a separate wing for PED players if that's what people are going to say. Because, okay, you cheated, but nobody cared. Nobody cared. And to put a guy in like David Ortiz, because he was a media darling of the world?
Right.
I mean,
that's what I said. That's what I said, too.
It just makes no sense to me, guys. It makes no sense.
I mean, you're right. I mean, there's plenty of people that were using PEDs. We can name them all. I mean, the Yankees. How many guys did they go after major guys that were using PEDs? Huh?
Why are you bringing my Yankees into this? They didn't do anything wrong.
The Rangers. They gave away A-Rod for nothing. You know he was using PEDs. Texera, you could probably say put a good vote that he was using PEDs, and then they got him. I mean, the Rangers just were giving away all these guys that were using the catcher, Ivan
Rodriguez.
I mean, he may have, he may not have, but I mean, all these guys that were in the Rangers organizations, and then they were
I don't want to accuse
them.
anyone, but you can make the argument that Chris Davis was too.
You know what's funny though, guys? As I'm hearing all these things about PEDs, about all this, it kind of makes me go back. And you all are obviously knowledgeable baseball fans. So when you look at all the professional sports and you put baseball there first, because it has a long storied history, it was beer, it was chasing girls in the 20s, it was greenies, it was coffee, it was caffeine. Is not baseball I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to be blunt about it. It's a drug-driven sport for the top performers. PEDs, amphetamines, whatever the case may be. I mean, hell, there's a Yankee fan in the room. Babe Ruth used to chug beers and come hungover to games and still slug home runs. So what does it matter if they were shooting a needle in their ass? Why is that so different than chugging beers, sniffing cocaine like Keith Hernandez? What's the difference? You know, and I'm a big Mets fan, guys, for those who don't know. And I've seen documentaries, and there was an ESPN 30 for 30 about the Queens, the whole thing. They had a bowl of greenies, and I'm sure they weren't the only team. Baseball is the only sport that is drugly celebrated for what they did on the field. Mickey Mantle. How many times we heard those stories? I mean, look at the guys. So for anybody, baseball writers, historians, true fans of the game, to put any kind of criticism on Ortiz, on Clemens, on Bonds, on a fraud. Sorry, I am going to use that. But a fraud, like any of these guys, that is such the most hypocritical thing that I've ever seen in sports. I'm sure there are guys in the Basketball Hall of Fame who don't deserve to be there. And I'm sure there are guys in the Football Hall of Fame who don't deserve to be there. But what people don't understand, guys, is the way baseball is looked at statistically is way different than any other sport. Whether you put a performing enhancer, whether you put 5 beers before, or sniffing a line of cocaine before you get to bats. It's just the stats in baseball. And the more they put up those stats we love is what we love to see. Listen, I despise Barry Bonds with every being in my body. But damn, man, that big head hit a home run over McCovey Cove, and I was like, I can't do that. You know what I mean, guys?
Right.
Right.
Going on your topic of like drug use and
he really
performance enhancement. I remember back when I was a kid, and it was a big thing when they said that they couldn't have chew in their mouth when they're pitching or playing anymore. Was it the early 90s, mid 90s when they said no more tobacco use on the field?
Yeah.
That was mid 90s. I think when Lenny Dykstra left the game because he looked like a chipmunk at the plate when he was with the Phillies in his late career.
Nails. Yeah.
I was gonna say David Wells had one too. I mean, that was a big old deal in the 90s, and I remember that as a kid. Like they always had that thing in there. It wasn't bubble gum. When we were playing baseball, little league, we tried to put gum in our mouth to make us look like that. I mean,
you used it, right? But we used the big league chew. It was like tobacco too. That was kind of funny the way it was marketed. It was like the slab, like the little strings, not like the foot long bubble gum, but it was like the little pouches. Yeah, I know.
Well, let me get to this then. Jonathan talked about this earlier. It was like the writers hold this personal vendetta against these players, which is totally wrong. Like you can go with the NFL route this year, where that Bears reporter is not going to vote for Aaron Rodgers because he didn't like him, and they need to put these personal issues aside and still vote for these. Like I lost respect for voters. I had respect for them a little bit, but then whenever Derek Jeter didn't get unanimous MVP or unanimous Hall of Fame votes, that kind of did it for me. I think well, I'm just saying they should put that. But why shouldn't they take their votes away if they don't like them? And
it's personal because they don't like the guy because he wouldn't do
anything. It has nothing to do with on the field. It has nothing to do with off the field issues.
They don't like him because he didn't do interviews for him. That's why they don't like him.
But here's the other thing you got to remember, Trey. If you don't want to vote for Barry Bonds and you do a no vote, that counts against him. You do realize that with the way the Baseball Hall of Fame is, right?
Yeah.
So all those, how many people just didn't vote? If there's 180 people and they only got 90 votes, I mean, obviously you got more than that with the percentage they gave out, but how many of those were no votes? It's not saying he can't get in, just don't want to vote on his name.
But what you guys just said, and you talked about Derek Jeter not being unanimous, and let's put aside because there are a lot of strong feelings for Yankee players and just because of the way the Yankees are. But what to me, and I saw a stat the other day about how many players who were not unanimous, and the one that stood out to me the most, and I think each one of you can say unequivocally, Ken Griffey Jr. didn't get in on a unanimous ballot. And that to me is shocking. So when you look at these baseball writers and the Tim Kirkjians and the people at ESPN and on MLB Network, of course they're going to have personal grudges. And that is not fair. It's not right. And, they've seen the game and they've seen the scandals and they've seen everything. Mm-hmm. And they just want to not upset the public. And I don't think that's right. And I honestly, this is the first year in probably 5 or 6 years that Bonds has been on the ballot. Clemens, they've all these guys have been on the ballot. And just the narrative now is more about PEDs. because they're coming to the close of when they could get in. And that's not right. They still celebrate the Black Sox scandal. Pete Rose is still talked about. Another thing, not in the Hall of Fame. That's another discussion. But baseball is the only sport, guys, that celebrates their missteps, who acknowledges drugs, acknowledges greenies, acknowledges PEDs, acknowledges someone bet, acknowledges a cheating team. And yet they're all celebrated, but now we have a problem? What's up with that?
I totally agree with you. I
agree.
You know, my childhood idol got in kind of late too. That's Roberto Alomar. I was very surprised he got in as late as he did. But when you look at it too, he did spit on the umpire, and I think they kind of pushed it back. I think that's the reason why it got pushed back for him, though. Why he got delayed.
Well, I just have
it's a stupid reason, but he got delayed. I think
these writers think that they're better than everybody else and think that they can not, like, I think the MLB requirements to get in Hall of Fame is ridiculous in itself. You have to have 75% of the vote, which is ridiculous in itself. But at the same time, why these reporters and all these have the whole these it shouldn't be about off the field. It's not about off the field issues. If that's the case, O.J. Simpson shouldn't be in. All these Babe Ruth probably shouldn't be in. With all these,
imagine if you let the fans vote.
That's what I'm getting to. Like, why these old men? Maybe we need to change it. Like a certain age, you guys start taking a driver test every year, right? Because you're too old to drive. Maybe we start doing the same thing with these riders with every sport, because it's not right that these older votes who hold grudges from like 30 years ago don't let these players in, and why these commissioners don't let Pete Rose in, for God's sake, because he betted on his own freaking team.
Well, let me ask you guys this.
That's now.
I do. You just make a valid point in terms of allowing people to vote. Instead of letting you vote opinionatively, like what's your thought? Like, I just think, like I've seen on multiple social media platforms, hey, this is player A, this is player B, this is their stats. Mm-hmm. Who would you vote? Like, maybe do something like that. I know that's crazy.
Just
I know
blank resumes.
Yeah, and I know that sounds crazy, and I know it's totally something off the wall, but
it's not crazy.
Unless you're putting a wing, and maybe MLB is leaning toward this. Put a PED wing, and here's the players we'll put in the PED wing. I don't know, but I think you're shortchanging the game. I think putting Ortiz in over Clemens, over Bonds is a slap in the face. I mean, Bonds had 7 MVPs.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 in a row. I mean, come on.
Yep, I totally agree. And MLB has to figure something out because it's losing viewership, and it's in the thing in the strike, because this is the last thing the MLB needs this year is a strike, because they're going to lose all the fans in the world if they go on another strike.
Yep. So. They can't afford to even play an abbreviated season, in my opinion. I think they need the full 162 game season.
So are you guys? Can I ask a question real quick before you move on? And I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
You're good. I really like your perspective.
So let me ask you this: you guys all 3 of y'all seem like true baseball fans, correct? Or am I misreading it?
No,
absolutely.
So if they play 154, are you not gonna watch?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Y'all would watch, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. So baseball, and this is, I don't know if you guys thought of it this way, baseball just relies on its fan base. And because baseball is not the NFL anymore, and this is where I think people kind of overlook Major League Baseball, it's focused on not nationally. It doesn't want to be the number 1 sport overall. It wants to dominate regions. Baseball is the most productive regionally televised sport that there is. And honestly, guys, I don't think they give 2 bleeps about attracting new fans. I think they want to keep their fan base. They want to continue to grow regionally. And some of us diehard fanatics, like the 4 of us in this room, will buy MLB. We'll watch every game. We'll watch out-of-market games. Mm-hmm. But not everybody will do that. But if you focus on, LA, they got Mike Trout. Oh, New York, Jacob deGrom. or this market, that market, and you pinpoint. And I think that's where MLB, and people don't give them enough credit, has done great regionally. You got great regional play-by-play announcers. And I don't really care that baseball is not America's national pastime, because I'm not much of an enthusiast. I'm still going through box scores of every team. I'm still looking it up, and I bet you three are. So to attract new fans, to take them away from the NBA, the NFL, and all that, I think baseball and the narrative put out there by normal media is baseball is sleeping. Baseball's going to lose things. Baseball's going to close. Baseball is the longest professionally running sport. It's been through World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. It's been through more than most professional sports have been through. It's still here, guys.
It is.
And it's not going anywhere. And I think, anyone with the narrative of, oh my God, baseball's going to end if they don't start at spring training, that's just people who don't know the game. People who don't understand what's really going on. Would I like to see a lot of changes in baseball? Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Am I a purist? Yeah, in a sense. But I'm not afraid of change. And you know what, guys? I love the 7-inning DH, the 7-inning doubleheader. Very exciting. Yeah. I would have loved to see the DH in the National League.
Mm-hmm.
Robo umpires. I'm still on the fence about that. But
I don't know.
I like the universal DH, though. I like the universal DH. I think that works tremendously for, the National League. That way you can save your pitchers from having to step into the batter's box.
Yeah, but when we all played Little League, even if we pitched, we wanted to hit that home run.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
Come on now.
That's true.
But I think baseball, I think people just, because the NFL is so gigantic and because the NBA is speaking to a younger generation, they just sleep on Major League Baseball. And
it's all about branding too. Branding.
Well, it is. You don't have a LeBron. You don't have, players like that. You don't have well, you do have great young talent, but you don't hear about it as much in Major League Baseball. I would love to see a Mike Trout, a Bryce Harper, a Juan Soto talk a little bit more to the media, get on social media like we see LeBron and some of these other guys. But, I love the bat flips. I love the personalization of the game. And, I think just perhaps the MLB just needs to find that younger star. And it's coming, guys. I think it's coming. I mean, you look at how generations have gone. Now we're getting to it. Now we're getting to those guys who have that personality, who have that social media following. And I think, the bat flips are a start. Mm-hmm. I think some of the talking on the field is a start, and there's going to be that player. I don't think he's in the league right now, guys. I don't think he is. And I love Mike Trout. He's a Hall of Famer. Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, all the young guys, Acuna, they just don't have that it factor. And it's coming, though, guys. Look at some of these players that teams have drafted who have been outspoken on social media. Right. So I think if baseball can hang in there, if they can keep the four of us interested, plus the other interested parties who people don't talk about, I think baseball is okay. And I think a lot of people are just overreacting, guys.
Well said. But I will say this: does MLB need an American? You know what I'm getting at? Because right now it's on the Angels and Tony, who's lighting up the league. Do they need an American to make it more popular, like a young?
No, I don't think so, guys. I think, and you know what? Ohtani is something that has never been seen before. So, and there's a lot of talk about this, and I'm a historian of the game. So, a conversation like this with Ohtani hasn't been brought up since Babe Ruth. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people say, well, why do you got to bring up history? Because history is baseball. Baseball is history. What Ohtani is doing, whether he be American, purple, white, black, green, it doesn't matter. he's doing things in the game that I think kind of invigorate the kids. They're like, oh, I can pitch and I can hit. I did that in Little League. I can keep doing that. That's awesome. Because I played Little League. I loved pitching, but I loved hitting. But I had to choose at one point. So now a player like Ohtani comes along in the modern era that can go both ways. He can invigorate a generation. He can be a Yao Ming, a Hideki Matsui, Suzuka, Ichiro. He could be all these guys. It just takes one player to do one special thing in a sport to kind of change that mentality. And I think him being on the West Coast, him being with the Angels, kind of opens up that. So I love Ohtani. I don't think you need that American player. And we do have them with the Mike Trouts who get constant conversations, with the Bryce Harpers, Jacob deGrom, guys like this, how they do. Garrett Cole, $300 million man, Carlos Correa. These guys get talked about.
Yeah.
And I think it's just baseball fans and the media outside of baseball who's not focused on it. They just look at big picture. Oh, we have a strike. Oh, they're so far away. Oh, the game of baseball is boring. And they're putting a narrative out there that the real baseball fan, I don't think completely agrees with. I have some agreements with the distance that they are, but some of the stuff is just like, yo, really? Come on now.
Well, there you have it, Jonathan. Have you changed your mind?
Yeah, I have a perspective on it. I do. I really do. I have a different perspective on it.
I mean, and you know what, guys? Sports talk is about perspective. And if someone doesn't bring to the table or you don't hear an opinion, it's not a thought in your mind, man.
Yep.
So, I didn't mean to take over your show. I didn't mean
No,
to
you're good. I love this. This was a lot of fun.
Saying, guys?
It's good.
Very good insight. Very insightful and very opinionated and factual.
Yeah, that's how I am. So that's
Well,
how it goes.
We got to move on to the NBA. Do you want to talk NBA or do you want to go?
Oh, no, dude. Listen, I can talk any sport, but before you get to NBA, I do want to ask you, and I don't know if you guys have talked about this yet, but something that comes to my mind that precedes NBA is the retirement of Saints head coach.
Oh, I haven't got to that yet, but
shoot, my bad.
I could jump into that right now.
I got some thoughts on this on Sean Payton.
Well, let's hear it because I'm a Cowboy fan. So
I mean, we touched it. We haven't gotten in depth on it. So
I will ask this: Sean Payton says he's retiring from the NFL. He doesn't know he's going to coach again for this forever or just this year, but he said he's worn out. Blah blah blah. Whatever the case may be. Can we all just agree that this is a ploy just to get the Dallas Cowboy job?
Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm jumping on that, son.
I think we talked about that before the show.
1,000%. This is okay. So this is the thing here with this. The only coaching job you would retire for is the job of your dreams where your family lives and your team that you want to take over had the worst playoff loss in their owner's career. Because what made it even worse, fellas, is the fact of this, that Patrick Mahomes tied the game in 13 seconds and Dak Prescott's run was 14 seconds. So there is obviously a coaching thing that is terrible. Now, the only thing to me is this. Does he sit out a little while? Does he give McCarthy half a season? I mean, the only qualm is the way he said it is that he's retiring. So Does he have to step away for a couple months and come back? Like, does Sean Payton come in at OTAs? Sean Payton's the next Dallas Cowboy head coach.
Did he say he was retiring? I thought he said he was stepping away.
I read numerous reports. Some said he was stepping away. Others said he was retiring.
I'm telling you, this is the Bill Cowher thing. He's going to step away for the right job.
And the right job is the Dallas Cowboys.
But it's when it comes open, and is it going to be – where's he at? Going to be personally, family-wise, all that stuff? Where's he going to be at when that job finally comes available?
The job will come available the day before the NFL draft, and he'll be ready by that time.
Honestly, it would not shock me because Jerry Jones loved the headlines, right? Super Bowl week. It would not shock me because I will all be talking about the Dallas Cowboys.
Jerry Jones is quoted as saying like he left like 20 or 30% of his body on Bourbon Street. It's all over the media. Like a long time ago, he said that quote. This is like one of those jobs where Jerry Jones is making the bed. Like he wooed his other coaches, but like, nah, it's simple. Like Sean Payton lives there. If he wanted to step away from the game, and you look at all the openings in the NFL, there is no team
ready
there right in that landscape that can win. The Cowboys are the only team that could win. You want to send Brian Dable to the Giants? Fine. You want to send Brian Flores to the Broncos? Fine. Byron Leftwich to the Jags? Fine. They're not going to do shit. You send Sean Payton to the Cowboys, and as much as I'm not the biggest Cowboys supporter, dude, they overtake Aaron Rodgers and the Packers as Super Bowl contenders in the NFC, point blank, just from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah, from a coaching standpoint, absolutely. And then they won't be the most undisciplined team in football anymore.
That's exactly where I was going to, because that was the only thing the Cowboys hiccup this year was discipline, right? They had 14 penalties in that, and all we heard for all season, because I'm a Cowboy fan, I listen to Cowboy radio all the time and everything. And I'm not one of these delusional Cowboy fans that we're going to win the Super Bowl every year, every time we beat them that teams. But what I'm saying is, Mike McCarthy said all year long, we got to fix these mistakes. We got to fix it. It never freaking happened. It never happened. We got to, just like the Green Bay Packers, right? Special teams has been a bad thing all year long. Oh, we'll fix it in time. Well, guess what? It never happened. It came back and bite you in the ass. It's same thing happened. And with Sean Payton, that's one thing. Discipline. You'll never have that discipline problem.
Right. And Dallas was the most penalized team in the NFL, committing 127 penalties this season. That's way too many.
Especially
that was the most. That was the most in the NFL.
Yeah. You can't win in this league when you got the offense running at you every 5-10 minutes, taking shots down the field, and you're holding or pass interference. You can't do that. 14 penalties in a playoff game. That's absurd. That's the second most absurd stat I've heard the whole divisional playoff and wild card playoff of the NFL.
Absolutely, because Mike McCarthy's team is aggressively undisciplined, and you know it's really sad because look, when you think about this team made no secret of the fact that they have a lot of talent. It's just been able to put it together at the right time, and they couldn't do it.
Use the right talent.
Right, that too.
Here's a question though, and I think when you play in a division like the NFC East or the NFC least, and you see the pathetic pool of talent around you, maybe something has to be done about the coaching to get them up every week. You know, and what I think about when I think about getting up on coaching, clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose. Friday Night Lights, get your guys excited. You may not be playing against the best talent, and you know what? So fantastic that the Cowboys went undefeated against the NFC least. They didn't do nothing in the playoffs.
Nope.
You know, so I think when you have that talent and you're the most talented team by far in that division, we're not talking about any other division in football. We're talking about Daniel Thomas, the Washington football team. I mean, come on. Jalen Hurts hasn't proved anything. So you can't get your guys to be better and play better every week, and then you go up against real opponents when you still have better talent? That's coaching, guys. That's not the players on the field. That's just how I feel about it. I mean, make these guys play. Make these guys be disciplined. Like, I coach my Pee Wee Sons football team. Of course, every single play the center might have a false start, but we don't call it. But this is the NFL.
Exactly.
You can't do it, guys. McCarthy's a joke. We saw he was a joke with the Packers. The only reason he got a pass there is because of Aaron Rodgers. Dak Prescott, I'm sorry. He is talented, bro. But he needs someone to get him elite, man. He's not in that top 5. The Dallas Cowboys want to get better. They want to get top 5. They need Sean Payton. Look what he did with Drew Brees. Look what he did with the Saints for 15 years. Period, man. The Cowboys haven't had a coach that they needed since Jimmy Johnson. Period.
Well, hell, look what Sean Payton
Dallas
did.
Cowboys, they're crossing their fingers that Sean Payton is the next guy.
What's up, bro? Were you saying something?
Dallas Cowboy fans are keeping their fingers crossed that he's the next head coach.
We shall see.
Yeah, and with Sean Payton, look what he did with it. If you just want to see how everyone's comparing him to Mike McCarthy, how they're the same because they only have one Super Bowl win with a great quarterback, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, how many years did Drew Brees go down? How many years did Drew Brees go down with the injury and they still, like Teddy Bridgewater, he barely played any quarterback. He went 5-0 whenever he was playing. He didn't have a freaking quarterback. He didn't have a quarterback all year this year, and he still almost got that team. He was a Rams win away from getting the number 6 seed in the NFL. That just shows you how good of a coach. There's a reason Aaron Rodgers wanted him gone. Aaron Rodgers wanted him that. As much as I hate Aaron Rodgers, he got hot at the right time. They won that Super Bowl despite Mike McCarthy. There's boneheaded mistakes. Aaron Rodgers called him out plenty of times on it in his press conference. Mike McCarthy's a bonehead. He's probably a nice guy, but he's not a good head coach. He had an offensive play caller and a defensive coordinator. All he had to do was coordinate timeouts. He couldn't even do that right. He signed off on the run. He doesn't do anything but look at the jumbotron and go, all damn long. But anyway.
So to compare Sean Payton to Mike McCarthy, that's an insult to Sean Payton.
I don't think he was comparing him though.
I wasn't comparing him. Other people are though.
Other people, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, other people.
I think that's ridiculous. That's irresponsible because Sean Payton is a far better coach than what Mike McCarthy is. Mike McCarthy is not cut out to be a head coach in the National Football League. The only reason Jerry Jones even hired him is because he's a yes man. And Jerry Jones was on this power trip. Now let's see, since Jerry Jones is more pragmatic now, he wants to win a Super Bowl. He's getting older now. He realizes that he has a chance to get a premier coach now. Let's see if he does it.
Well, you hit the nail on the head because, yes, Jerry Jones used to hire yes men, but Jerry Jones is starting to get wiser as years. Like, I think he's starting to see all of his friends are passing away, right? He's getting right there. He's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And so and you're also seeing this press conference where usually he gives his head coach a pat on the back. It's like, all right, we'll give him whatever the case may be. This year, he didn't make no excuses because I expect in-game. One thing that pisses him off is that when you say you're going to make adjustments at the end of the year. This is what we need to look at. No, we need to do that in the middle of the game at halftime.
In the game.
At the end of the game, during the week 6, week 7, not in the freaking playoffs in the wild card weekend. And I think that's where Jerry Jones is starting to see. I think Jerry Jones is starting to pull the reins back a little bit, and I think that he doesn't want a yes man. I think he's starting to see because look, him and Jimmy Johnson for all those years have had that beef, right? But then he said, let's bygones be bygones. He's letting him in the Ring of Honor. It's supposed to be this year, but apparently it didn't happen. But he's going to be in the Ring of Honor. So I think Jerry Jones is starting to become finally at age 79, however old he is, but he's just looking god awful old. I think he's finally seen it. I think he's like, all right, Sean Payton, I did you wrong. Let's right or wrong. Let's win another Super Bowl together. I think that's what's going to happen. I really hope it is. But let's stick with the NFL. I'm going to bypass the NBA tonight. I'm sorry, Wilk. I know there's, but I just want to get your take on Aaron Rodgers. Did he play his last game in Green Bay?
Who wants to start this one? Because I know where I'm at on this.
Go ahead.
All right.
Go for it.
Listen, I've thought about this, and you look, and everyone's going to say cap hits and the salary and all this. Yeah, it's a big thing. It's definitely a big thing, but you have to look at two factors. I think before any of us can say that he's played his last game at Green Bay, we have to look at free agency of his team. I think the biggest domino before any of us could say anything is the wide receiver, is Devontae. I don't want to say he has played his last game at Green Bay because you look at the other options. And a lot of people, they throw out easily the Broncos, the Colts even. Hell, depending on what Jimmy G does do we woo back the guy who once loved our franchise? You look at the options that are out there, and I can't definitively say yes or no right now. And that's unfortunate because I want to. Because I want Aaron Rodgers to return as the Packers, but his words have made it clear he doesn't want to go to a rebuilding team. But there were some words today that say, hey, we're going to do the right thing. Aaron Rodgers can come back. And I think the only other team, man, I would really say the Broncos, but it doesn't equate to Peyton Manning going and winning that Super Bowl because it's a little bit different.
It's a lot
and that's
different.
Why I think, and I'm going to stay with this, Aaron Rodgers comes back for one more run with Green Bay only because of these factors. The NFC is weak at the quarterback position compared to the AFC. If he doesn't want to rebuild and he wants to win a Super Bowl, him going back to the pack puts the Green Bay Packers at the top of the short list in the NFC because, when you go through the AFC in your mind, you're like, wow, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Derek Carr. Like you can go, Ryan Tannehill, like not even putting them in any kind of order. But you can almost think of half the league in the AFC and think of their quarterback who can take them there. Hell, and I'm one to admit when I'm wrong. I didn't think that the Cincinnati Bengals would be where they're at, but quarterback play makes it happen. Mm-hmm. In the NFC, man, I scratched my head. Russell Wilson is on the downturn. Kyler Murray, okay, upside. Matthew Stafford, in the middle. Jimmy G, not too high on. Tom Brady, the Saints, who the hell is their quarterback? The Panthers? Matt Ryan, he's a joke. Daniel Thomas, Danny Dimes, I have no idea what you're talking about. Washington, that's a head scratcher. Oh, I left out Kirk Cousins, big deal. But, if Aaron Rodgers stays where he's at, that's his only legitimate shot of winning one more title. And that's why I think Rodgers stays in Green Bay, guys.
I'm thinking retirement for him.
Ooh, hosting Jeopardy.
That's exactly what I was going retirement too.
I think he's leaning towards retirement. I think he's going to sit down and take a few days or months or whatever, however much time he needs and figure things out. I'm not too sure he knows what he wants to do, but I think he's leaning towards retirement. I would just put it that way. I think, he's won one Super Bowl. I just think he's probably over football. I think he's burnt out from it. I think he walks away from the game.
I don't think he knows what he wants. I think he wants to play, but he plays for the only organization that doesn't have an owner or any of that other stuff like some of these other organizations. He doesn't know anything different, and I think that's what's dragging him, leaning to what you're saying, Jonathan, is possible retirement because he doesn't have that one person he can go sit in their office and be like, look, this is what I see. This is what I want. This is what I need. As far as Devontae, I mean, they can franchise tag him and keep him there for one more year, but that's not what Aaron wants to happen for Devontae. He's openly said it today. They shouldn't franchise tag him, blah, 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 cap hit, everything you said, Joel. But I mean, he goes to bat for his people. I don't know where he would go. I don't know where he'd be happy. I think he wants to play, but he doesn't know when you've been in one situation for so long, you really don't know what that other foot is like. You don't know anything about it. I think he wants to play, but I think he's had a taste of these State Farm commercials, this Jeopardy. I think he likes that as well.
But let me ask you, though, and I think about it this way. And yes, you're right. Everything that you said is right. Green Bay is way different than any organization that's run. But what we don't see is really what goes behind the scenes. And you're right. He's a famous guy, State Farm and Jeopardy and all this other thing. But how does he have more control? He may say the right things in public, but we have seen kind of in small glimpses about what happens behind the scenes at Green Bay. He wound up staying there this year. There were some things and a lot of talk in the media about how this was a bad relationship, this and that, and Aaron blah, 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 and a lot of back and forth. But I think Green Bay is just a mysterious organization. And as weird as that sounds, I think Rodgers can dictate more and has more power if he plays a good face like he has always done in front of the fans. And I think him saying that, hey, don't franchise this or don't do that is kind of just him baiting the hooks, man, reeling them in and making it softer when those decisions get made. I think Aaron Rodgers has a 75% share of the stock holds in what he has and the decisions that are made behind the scenes. I mean, think about this, guys. In the last 30 years, you've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. And how many Super Bowls have you won? They want one more. They want one last bite of the apple. And I think they'll take whatever steps that need to be done to get that forbidden fruit one more time before he rides into the sunset and he says, this is Jeopardy. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, but how many, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you want to stay in that and keep like Lucy pulling the ball away from Charlie Brown, right? Like this year, okay, we've been talking about this for 3 straight years. He gets close, but yeah, he can't get there. At some point, he's going to have to say this is enough. Like he's tired of doing this.
Charlie Brown never said that. It's been 50 years.
That's true. And he still hasn't got the ball kicked.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, so does he look at, take a step back, it takes a month, 2 months, whatever the case may be, and be like, you know what? I said I want to keep doing it, but it's a long season. We have one more extra game in the regular season. I'm older now. I can't carry a team on my back like I used to. I'm selfish. I'm ignorant. I'm a selfish SOB, whatever the case may be. Because honestly, we could be talking about the Green Bay Packers right now in the NFC Championship game. He hits Lazard in that middle of the field instead of going to Davante Adams instead of being selfish and trying to go to your best player. I'm sorry. That's just the case may be. But Aaron Rodgers is just a regular season quarterback. Does he want to? And before the season began, I would have told you straight up he's going to Denver. But now look at you're right. Look at the AFC quarterback situation. Do I really want to go against Patrick Mahomes twice? Do I really want to go against Justin Herbert twice? Do I want to go against Joe Burrow, Josh Allen? Hell, Mac Jones is even coming up and now in the league. Do you really in the NFC? And you're right. You hit a good point. NFC, Tom Brady's probably out the door this year anyway too. So you can knock that one out. Russell Wilson's on. He's probably not going to be a Seattle Seahawk next year.
Right.
He's linked to Denver too.
Yeah. So. NFC, the only consistent good quarterback is Matthew Stafford, and we all know how wildly inconsistent he is. So the only team I can see fitting right is the Green Bay Packers. But that $44 million, and you say salary cap, the Green Bay Packers have not done enough in free agency over the last 16 years to keep them there. So if you're Aaron Rodgers, do you really want to try to run it back one more time? Or do you just say, you know what, I'm getting married now, I'm doing this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I did everything I had, I played 17 years, bye, peace, I'm Jeopardy.
But So with that being said, what about staying in the NFC and going to the NFC South, where they need a quarterback, all 4 teams?
But who?
Only the Saints. I mean, it depends on Tom Brady. When you
right,
look at it. Obviously the Panthers need a quarterback. The Falcons, we still don't know about Matt Ryan, and we still don't know about Tom Brady.
But
if
I'm
you
just
say
saying,
the Saints, you lose Sean Payton. Why would you go to the Saints?
Because he's got Michael Thomas, and that'll woo another quarterback. I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't know. I mean, you ask the question. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. You might be able to keep Michael Thomas there because I think Michael Thomas might stay because Sean Payton's leaving.
Well, here's the deal. Here's the thing. How about the New York Giants? They have good wide receiver weapons. I mean, I'm just saying. Depending on their head coach this next year.
I think. Oh man, the Giants are an interesting thing because I mean, but the way that organization has been run over the years, that's what scares me. If I'm like a second or third year guy, I'm just getting out of my contract. Oh, the New York, the Giants. Oh, that's cool. I'm a 17-year vet, and I have seen this organization from the outside do the nonsense, and some of the coaches that they've had, I'm lenient. And a guy like Aaron Rodgers is it's like Peyton Manning. If the situation wasn't the way it was in Denver, I don't think Peyton Manning would have gone. Just like I don't think Tom Brady would have went to the Bucs. I just don't know. And if that situation with the Giants kind of screams, hey, we can get there. Because the Dallas Cowboys are the only other team in that division with leeway and with a QB. But I don't know, man. I know you got Saquon. I know you got the wide receivers. I'm not high on that defense with the Giants. And I don't know if the Giants have what it would take in capital, because Green Bay would want, I would say, 3 first-round picks, guys, at least, for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
All right, Trey.
Well,
I like your thought. What about Minnesota? They got weapons. They got a running back. They got a decent defense.
They're playoff ready.
But here's the thing. This is one thing we're forgetting, though. Didn't he just sign Aaron Rodgers just signed a contract where he said after this year, the Packers, if he wants to trade, the Packers can trade him. But he has no say-so where the Packers trade him. Am I wrong on that? And then 2 years, he can go for your free agency.
Is that what it was?
I think that's what it was.
I thought it was.
It's a Brett Favre thing all over again, right? Except for the retirement.
Right. Oh, so he's going to the Jets.
Yep.
Okay.
Trade back to the Jets. Trade them, baby.
Or the Vikings.
Right, Vikings. That's what I'm saying. They got wide receivers. They're ready, right? Let's just do this all over again.
I just can't remember what his clause was. I thought that's what it was when they renegotiated his contract.
But he also said he wanted a long-term contract from whoever the next team was.
Yeah, so I don't know. I have to look into it, but I think
Green Bay's going to have another Brett Favre.
They have another Brett Favre already.
All I know is NBA has always been the no drama league, or the drama league. Not no drama, the drama league. NFL is going to give its run for the money this offseason with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Sean Payton.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's going to give all of us something to talk about every single day, because you never know.
NFL's going to run the headlines all throughout the year like they always do, and we're always going to be talking about. And for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on, but no head coaches have been hired yet. Is this the first time in like forever that?
Hey, I have a thought on that. If you let me speak here real quick. So I think when you look at it this year, there are more candidates who are still in the playoffs than ever before. When you look at it, and none of those guys really want to commit to a job till they finish. So, Brian Dable, Vienemy, all these guys, they're still coaching. They don't got the time. And I think that's what makes it different. The only guy who I'm kind of curious, because I thought he was going to go to the Raiders, already announced, was Jim Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I wonder, I don't know if you guys mentioned this, now with the Bears naming a GM, is Harbaugh more of a fit to the Bears?
I would love Harbaugh with the Bears and see what he does with Justin Fields. I think he can be good help with Justin Fields.
Kaepernick 2.0.
Yeah, and then, also, could Jim Harbaugh go to Miami?
I don't want Harbaugh with Tua.
I don't either, but you can. Well, who says a Watson to a Tua trades are done with?
I want Brian
Flores.
I want Dable in Miami. I want Dable.
It doesn't care what you want.
I know, but I can hope.
But you also have to think, though, like with the coaching situation, how many guys are up for jobs right now? Just lost 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And then like you said, there's still 3 or 4, 5 that are still in the playoffs that are up for that are interviewed for these jobs or have interviews set up, but you can't. They don't want to take away from their teams and what they're set to do right now. I mean, there's a lot that I think that has a lot to do with it. That was a really good point. Like the Byron Leftwich thing.
He can go. He's already in Jacksonville. The tabloids are right. He's in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I feel like you bring up Byron Leftwich. I agree. Jacksonville is a great fit. I mean, that's his organization. Trevor Lawrence isn't as pathetic as I thought he was at the beginning of the season. He's okay. But I think a guy like Leftwich deserves his opportunity. And I think Jacksonville is the perfect fit for him. And I think that's the one coach, in my opinion, where it's like, hey, you go here. Like all the other openings, every name that we've already thrown out there, from the Brian Flores's of the world to the Eric Bieniemys, could go to any of them and make an impact. And, when you look at the teams, and now the Saints is one too. The Saints, the Texans, all these Miami, all these teams, they have some upside at it. Young quarterbacks, whether you like them or not. I don't particularly am not a fan of Tua. I wish we Justin Herbert was our draft pick, but that's my own thing. When you look at the Giants, and you just, I think it's going to be a little bit longer. And I think we're not going to see a hire for a head coach till after the Super Bowl this year, guys.
Yeah, you're probably right. And no one's talking about Houston. I think Brian Flores is going to go to Houston. I think they're going to bring Brian Flores in because he wants Watson. I think that's what's going to happen.
To try to keep Watson there?
I think so. But Watson's already out the door. Watson don't care. Watson's done. But
I mean, we don't even know his situation. Is there any new news?
No.
Yeah.
No, because
What's
the Dallas
going on
Cowboys
with his
have
legal
circuit.
troubles and his allegations?
Well, we haven't heard anything from that.
Yeah, we haven't.
Anyway.
I mean, you would know Trey more than us.
Not really, because here in Texas, it's all Dallas Cowboys. It doesn't care. Like I'm.
Well, but you would know before the rest of us because you're closer than the rest of us, obviously.
I was shocked. No one knew Coley was going to get fired. I was shocked on that. That was that.
A lot of people in Houston are Cowboy fans, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Well, we know why.
Because Dallas runs everything. Dallas is the best team in the league. Who knows?
Because the Oilers moved out of the state. They're like, come on.
Yeah, a lot of people.
My dad was even a Cowboys fan.
Warren Moon is the best Dallas or Texas quarterback
ever. Oilers were in the state.
Well, it's been real. It's been over 2 hours. Oh my God, I cannot believe it. I want to thank all y'all for joining me tonight. Sorry, we didn't talk NBA, but we have all season talk NBA.
Oh yeah,
come on, Grayson Allen,
dude. Grayson Allen's a dirty player. We all know he is.
Yes.
John Moran for MVP.
I'm with that.
He's a very dirty player.
Well, I will say this. Breaking news. Lakers actually won against a good team. They actually beat
the Nets aren't that good. They're overrated.
First of all,
that's right.
They had nobody playing
I said that
tonight.
out loud. I'm sorry. I said that out loud.
They better be trying to win because Frank Vogel's coaching for his job. Well, no, actually, I take that back.
No Kyrie.
Jeannie Buss is going to keep him most likely.
I don't know. Reports I heard that every game in a game's a situation. It's a game situation.
Oh, okay. So then he is coaching for his job.
Yeah. Well, you also got to remember they play the Brooklyn Nets without no Kyrie Irving because they're playing in Brooklyn because he doesn't want to get vaccinated. And then you have Kevin Durant who's out with a knee soreness. And you have James Harden leading that team, and good luck with that.
Miami Heat, baby.
He had 33.
The Lakers, they drove me to stop writing about LA sports. They drove me.
We all know it's going to be Milwaukee and Golden State in the finals.
My golden days of basketball is John Ewing, Patrick Ewing and John Starks, 90s Knicks. But that's it.
That's 90s Knicks, man. That was a good team there.
That was my favorite back in the day. But now I'm in Florida, and I got to go to the Heat.
Cool. You're a New Yorker, huh?
I am. I'm originally from Long Island. I'm in Florida now, so.
Oh, okay.
Yo.
I'm a California guy. I'm from Southern California.
That's what. Hey, guys, I really appreciate y'all letting me hop on, talk some sports with you. I appreciate it, man. Absolutely amazing. Y'all had great opinions and stuff like that, so I thank you very much, man.
No, thank you as well.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Until another time, man. Let me know when you're on. I'd love to join you again.
Varsity Sports every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Time, your time, buddy.
All right, man, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Later.
Also for Jonathan, for Will, for myself, this has been Varsity Sports. Jonathan, I think you have another show to get to. I'm sorry.
No, I don't. Tonight's Tuesday.
Oh, Thursday night's your show.
Wednesday
night's your show.
and Friday nights.
That's right. You have to beg your
Busy
wife.
nights.
Busy night.
Yep.
I don't know if we're going to do a show next week or not. I'm going to be at the Spurs Warriors game. So
Oh.
Cool.
finally get to watch my favorite player play. That's the only player I ever want to watch play. But Kobe Bryant was one of them. I finally got to watch him play. And now I get to watch Steph Curry. Hopefully he plays. Hopefully he doesn't get in. I watch every game praying, don't get injured, don't get injured. But anyway, thank y'all for we swept almost all the leagues. We talked about MLB. We talked about NFL. NFL's king right now. NBA is coming in the next couple of weeks. March Madness is fixing to heat up. We're in conference play already in college basketball. I think all of us are college fans. I think we can talk a little bit about that as well. March Madness is going to be good. Man, a lot to talk about. This is the best time to be a sports fan right now. We got NFL Championship week coming up Sunday, starting at 2:00 Central Time. Jonathan can't wait. He's going to be sweating and breaking tables and yelling and screaming at his daughter. His daughter's probably going to be crying right in the key game. You got to take care of her. And
You would know. You're a dad.
It happened to me right now. Like it always happens to me. Like, Daddy, I want to play with you, but it's 4th and 1 with 2 minutes left. Then you just look at my wife like, your daughter's not important. I'm like, not during football.
Oh, that sounds like Denise. Yep, that sounds like Denise right there.
Anyway,
I don't know if she's watching, but if she is, she heard me. But that sounds like Denise.
We talked to MLB. We talked to everything. And also, this is what I want this show to be about. If you want to be on, just hit me up on Messenger. I'll be sending you the link, bring up sports, because there's some things we just don't talk about. And you want to talk about, let us know. We'll hit you up. Hit us up on Facebook, anything like that. Follow ASAP Net for all your needs because we have you covered from everywhere. It shows every hour of the day. It seems like every day every hour I get a notification. It shows fixing to start. So keep it on right here for ASAP Network. You got the TV network. We're on Amazon, Roku, all this other stuff. Keep it on ASAP for all your needs. For Will, for Jonathan, I have been Trey. Hope y'all been great. Hope y'all stay with us for next week. This has been, I almost said Sweep the League, but this is Varsity Sports. And I'm just talking because I can't find the the intro music. Sorry, my first time using StreamYard, guys. Anyway, until next week, peace and love. Bye.
Whole sports all plays. Yeah. Whole sports all plays. Whole sports all plays. 365, we making up plays. You talking the game, get you to